Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Sorry. Still not. COVID-19. Just a sneeze. Hey, Jay Jolly back in Montreal just in time. They're apparently going to have state of emergency declared in Montreal today, which means getting out and getting in the city is going to be much more complicated starting tonight. With almost 1,000 cases just here in the city of Montreal. Pretty crazy times. So we're gonna have to stay home, and we're gonna do radio and live shows. Let's do 24-hour live shows. I know some of you would like, yeah. I need sleep, actually. So Blonde de Chambly is my first beer for today. Yes, more beer. How did you go through all of this? Beer. Maybe that's why the liquor stores are not declared closed. All the people going crazy. So, okay. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let me just make sure I take this. Move this here. This here. Oops, wrong one. This is what I move here. This is what I put there. This is what I have here. Like this. It's pretty good. And we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard to the live show. And just get comfortable here. The table like this. And a microphone like this. So this is the live shortwave show. This is the show where we talk about radio. This is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with shortwave, medium wave, long wave, sometimes VHF, UHF. It's a radio. It can get radio waves. Then we talk about it and hope that you enjoy. We are live twice a week. We are live on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 0 Universal Time. So for a lot of people, it's actually Thursday in the night or daytime. We are also live on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 20 hours Universal Time. And of course, there's a beautiful chat room with amazing people that are here. And this is, of course, from people all around the world that are just amazing and that are here to just have fun and geek out with, no one making fun of us, no one thinking we are weird. We keep that, let that for other people that are supposed to let us know that we're weird. And where we answer questions and just have fun and respect each other. And one very simple thing, our love for radio. When all of this is over, you still can have fun and share with a lot of people. We're at 630 some members now in the Facebook group. Official SWL channel is the same name as the channel here. And it's where you can continue sharing with others. I often post what I'm listening to and what's out there. And, last night we had a lot of fun chasing all sorts of signals. And people are posting all the time pictures of their shacks, videos of what they're listening or whatever radio-related items. Remember to keep it radio. Anything that is out of radio, that has nothing to do with radio, is not going to make it. And so it's very important. Radio only. And for the rest, there's the rest of the internet for all of that. And welcome to everyone. So why not join our nice little group that is really amazing? It's a beautiful, beautiful group. Everybody respectful, everybody enjoying, radio and sharing together. It's kind of cool. We always say that our hobby is solitary, and it's even more solitary, I would say, right now with all this happening, because we're all confined to our homes and fiddling with the dial and listening to the radio. So it's even more important to have a way to share. And what's happening now is happening in a good time. For one thing, is that there's this thing called the internet and social media. We can actually interact with each other without being together. And it's not the same, I know, but it's still interesting. This would have happened 30 years ago. We all would have been in our little rooms listening to the radio with, not going out and not having anyone around. It's a very different way of dealing with it today. And we got this great technology to help us do this. Remember, if what you see is a little fuzzy or not perfect, YouTube has slowed the streams to actually degraded the streams by default to 480p, which is standard definition across the world. So you might be at 480p by default. But a little trick, you can go into the settings and say, hey, I want it at 720. And it's going to come back at 720 or whatever. So nice to have everybody on board. So I'll take my first sip of beer. Cheers. Me and Sheldon have recorded the International Radio Report show this afternoon at 1 p.m. It's edited and sent to CKUT. So it should be airing on Sunday morning. Improved audio with Sheldon, that I sent him a USB headset. And, every week it's going to be better and better. And actually, it sounds great. I was listening to it on one of my radios. I put the MP3 file and listened to it. Pretty nice. I'm happy with my work as the technician for all of this to happen. And so another International Radio Report coming your way, guys. That's Sunday at 14:30 UTC, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. If you're in Montreal or around Montreal, it's on 90.3 FM on your FM radio. If you are not in Montreal, you can stream at ckut.ca, and you can also listen to the archived show. Simply go to archive and choose International Radio Report in the list. It's nice because a lot of shows on CKUT are not happening, and those that are often shows from the past that are actually rerun. So I want to thank everybody, by the way, because we got some tremendous support and amount of people that just had to say that they were so happy that we would continue actually creating new International Radio Report shows as we go on by doing this in a very interesting way. And it opens up the door to interesting stuff also. We were talking today about how we could now easily bring guests that we could have online. And this would be actually a really, really nice thing also to have guests on the show at the same time. And so this is going to be things that we're going to do in the future. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you enjoy the show that we have created for you today that will be airing on Sunday morning. And we're all, I mean, Sheldon and me, we're like, we sit down and of course we're going to be waiting by the radio on Sunday morning to make sure that it plays. I got confirmation that CKUT did receive it. So hope that everything's all right. Remember that this weekend is a big change for shortwave radio. Sunday, So, and we're going to explain because first, let's say hello to Elizabeth. That I don't have my phone, but Elizabeth says hi, and she wanted to an answer to a simple question because she said, "I heard you talking about a change in schedules for stations this Sunday," and the question is, why are they doing that? So we're going to answer that question at the same time. So this coming Sunday, the 8:20 schedules for shortwave are going to be in effect. So we are in the last 2 days, today and tomorrow, up to 23:59 UT is going to be the last 2 days of your regular schedules of listening to stations that you are that you like on the schedules that we have right now. Because on Sunday, well, starting actually in North America, it's actually starting tomorrow night at 0 UTC. It's going to be Saturday evening, North America. Schedules will already have started to change because we will be UT Sunday, March 29th. And so the new schedules are going to be in effect. Now, there's all the websites that you use to have all the different schedules right now. They're all going to be they're all going to be kind of messed up. So the stations that are on these lists are not going to be good. EIBI space.de will typically take often takes a few days to a week and a half before they actually update the schedules. So you got to be patient on these websites because for the first few weeks, they're probably going to be wrong on many frequencies and times. But you can go to hfcc.org. HFCC is the High Frequency Coordination Committee. They actually orchestrate the different broadcasters coming together and actually talking about what times and frequencies they're going to use. And the reason why the HFCC exists is to make sure that there's no clash between two stations wanting to use the same frequency at the same time. Now you say, well, it happens all the time. Yeah, it usually happens with rogue broadcasters like Radio Havana, Cuba, for example, because Radio Havana, Cuba does not participate to the HFCC. They just get on a frequency and say, hey, I'm here now. So it happens very often. The Radio Havana, Cuba is on top of other stations because they don't respect anything. But for the most part, there's a orderly schedule that you can check out. So it's by broadcasters, so you can check out if what stations you're listening to and what are the new frequencies for the time being. The reason for the change is very simple. What's happening is that the seasons make a change in the ionosphere because the sun isn't at the same angle. And the closer you are to the poles, the more that is visible. So here at 45 degrees north in Montreal, it's actually something we see very well, the effect of changing seasons on propagation and in frequencies that we use. So they have to adjust the schedules because the frequency they use in the wintertime might not be good to be used in the summertime. There's like that buffer zone frequency where a lot of stations stay put and they go through it all year and works pretty well. But for best results, often they choose their frequencies to match, the season. Longer nights means they often use lower frequencies. We're going into summer in the northern hemisphere, so they're going to choose higher frequencies because these will propagate better. And they do that twice a year. So we will have, of course, we're ending the B19, which is the second season of schedules for the 2019 ending tomorrow. Also, they made it a little simpler today because in the 80s, I remember stations changing 4 times a year. There was actually 4 scheduled seasons. And the reason why is because for best results on shortwave, having the schedules changed to 4 times a year was kind of making the frequency change and the reception of stations a little better. But the problem is, for stations, it was a big problem to change 4 times a year And for shortwave listeners, it was kind of hard to keep up with the fact that there were 4 changes, and especially back in the 80s and 90s where we didn't have internet, so we didn't have access to real-time schedules like today. Today it's crazy. Today we have access to real-time information of stations where they are and all of that, and which is very different. But back in the 80s and part of the 90s, we just, it was either you tune around, try to find it, or you had received that little schedule in the mail by the station that you're listening to. And so they were often, most of the time, one of the things that you would get, a lot of stations would do that at the time, is you would get their new schedules in the mail every time they would have a new schedule season. So even if you didn't write, you were kind of on their mailing list, and they could send you those schedules. So today they simplified this. Now there's a drawback for that happens with that, and the drawback is that for a certain period of time, those frequencies aren't perfectly matched with the season. So if they change immediately to their frequency of summer frequency, what happens is that summer frequency in April might not be very good because we're still close to the equinox. But as we go into May and June and July, then it gets better, and then it's okay. So there's a drawback to only changing twice a year. But I guess it's probably easier for everybody anyways to do that. So that's the reason why. So they need to change most of the times. There are stations that don't. Look at Radio Exterior de España. They don't change anything. The result is that sometimes in the winter, the deep days of winter, like December, January, 9690, which is the lowest frequency to use, doesn't always propagate very well. I've had many times this winter where I could hear it, but very weak in the background in the noise. So they would have benefited from having a 49 meter frequency like on 6 megahertz or 41 meter on 7 megahertz to have a better signal. But some stations don't want to deal with that. One that I always rant about is KBS World Radio in South Korea. I mean, they use 15575 all the time. They never change that. And the problem is here in North America, when propagation is good and the summertime, okay, makes it. But in the wintertime, forget it. It's impossible to hear that frequency. So you're kind of wondering sometimes, do you really want to be heard on shortwave? You're not even, giving a try. One of the things I would probably say to KBS World Radio is, what? If you're going to do it like that, why don't you rent some airtime on WRMI and at least it'll be heard in their English language to North America. One that is a rough one that they do change, but it's a rough one is Radio Thailand. So starting tonight, Radio Thailand will be for the last time on 13750. So if you have good reception there, listen tonight because at 0 because UTC. Because tomorrow they'll be back to their summer, which is usually 15590. That one won't come in here until at least May or June on the East Coast. So there's these drawbacks of things like that. But anyways, so new schedules. It's that time where we're all lost. And next week I'll probably have a series of videos on my picks for the A20 schedule seasons and so on. So Mark Cope, nice to have you here in Dallas, Texas, WA5153SWL. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here in Nova Scotia, VE1 TV. Matt Tambali in Colorado. Matt in Denver, Colorado, sorry. Nice to have you here, W0NDK. WA0080SWL, cool and cloudy. It's a very beautiful spring day here today, honestly. If I would not have done this, I would have been outside with a radio. It's 10 Celsius, so we're kind of in the 50s, I guess. Bobby Burgess, WA5107SWL, Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Florence Garneau, nice to have you on board, my friend. Matt Umbali is hearing BBC 15490. Liam Conlon, nice to have you here, Liam. Ali Reza, nice to have you here. Where are you located, Ali? Sean Fitzgerald, nice to have you here, Sean, in Syracuse, New York. John Klassen, nice to have you on board. He's got the same flag on the wall, the pirate flag from the picture. Jeff Williams, nice to have you on board from Southwest Cornwall in the UK. Scott Cranston, Massachusetts, USA. Joe Rudman in Chicago area. Old Radio Man, Northeast Tennessee. Icadarius, nice to have you here. Mike Hill, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. So Jay Jolly, nice to have you back. I'm going to miss not being able to have my beer with my friend at the bar. Everything's closed and shut down. And of course, you arrived now, so you are in quarantine because you're back from Florida now. So I love you too, man. And R. Walker, nice to have you here, my friend, from Washington State. Radioactive, W7WXV from Oregon. Pretty cool. René Charbonnier, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. C'est toujours un énorme plaisir de t'avoir parmi nous. Rufus Newt, nice to have you here from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Chris Alpha Tango, hey, nice to have you on board, my friend. Art Dodd, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Art. Chris Alpha Tango, life sustaining on Frontline. Kathleen Alm, nice to have you here, Kathleen. David, KJ4CMY, nice to have you here. So, yep, state of emergency apparently going to be declared this afternoon. Radioactive, I probably have enough toilet paper for at least a month and a half. And I mean, I don't have a lot of it. It's just that I don't need 300 rolls for the next month. Rob, nice to have you here in Phoenix, Arizona. Killer Cobra, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? The Polarin Man message, nice to have you on board. Jasmine from Seattle, nice to have you here. Vince Perrault, salut de Deux-Montagnes et bienvenue. Toujours un plaisir. Tu ne pourras plus venir à Montréal s'il déclare l'état d'urgence. Unless you got some special clearance to come in the city. We'll be isolated. Matt says they briefly closed liquor stores and dispensaries in Denver, but it caused a run at all of them. They wisely reversed. Here, there was a talk this morning because somebody asked the Prime Minister, why are the liquor stores open? Why are they in the emergency list? And you know what they answered? They actually answered that if they close them, there will be a lot of alcoholics that will end up in the hospital, and that's the last thing that they want. So they rather keep them open for that reason. Esteban, nice to have you here from the Canary Islands. Don Warner, nice to have you here, Don in Ohio. Actually, the Prime Minister had a really, really fun moment there when he talked about that and answered the question. He said, and to relax in these times and to make sure everything's all right, do some exercise, go out for a walk, and sometimes a glass of wine is not bad also. So it's kind of, yeah, okay, a beer. Anyways, I mean, if there's no liquor store, there's always a beer at the grocery store. So, Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Hooray for beer. Levi Nathan in Israel, nice to have you on board, my friend. Neil Toombs, nice to have you on board from the UK. M0CJM, nice to have you on board, Neil. Mark Rich, nice to have you here from west of England. So we're all stuck at home pretty much. We take walks. I take walks. It's nice because they have, I forgot to put it. I wanted to put one up. There's so it started in Italy. they have that. They ask, if you have children, for example, it's a great little thing to do. You ask your children, just draw a nice little um, um, rainbow, and they put the rainbow flag in the window. So of course I didn't draw mine, but I printed mine, and the amount of people that have rainbow, and it's there to kind of help cheer us up in these times. Ecadarius says, when you listen to the radio, things are going to get crazy. Tom DXer, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Hudson Valley, New York. Kimberly, K6YYL from California. Nice to have you here. Nick Amendel from Romania. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Michael, radio conveys viral immunity. It's a scientific fact, especially shortwave radio geeks and amateur radio geeks. The Polarin message. Question of the day. I need parts antenna to fix up my old Radio Shack discount scanner antenna. What's your suggestion? Wow. Tram 1411 or the Diamond D130J? Diamond antennas have always been renowned to be pretty good in general. I would say, go with the Diamond. Keegan, XN80Xer, nice to have you here. Northwest Arkansas. Daniela, bonjour et bienvenue de Longueuil. Nice to have you here. Lowell Jacobson, nice to have you here, Lowell. Have you tried the Alpha Delta Sloper? Just wondering if it performs better than a plain homemade long wire antenna. Well, I don't have the Alpha Delta Sloper, but I do have a Sloper that is it's actually a commercial antenna. It's a ion fed, which is the brand. Comes from Europe, and it was a gift from a viewer. And so you can set it up as a regular wire. It has a 9-to-1 balun at the end. I set it up as a sloper in my backyard. It's roughly, 80 feet long, roughly. And the problem with anything that is a wire, a sloper, or things like that, is the noise. If you have a lot of noise in your environment, you're going to pick up all the noise. And that's what's happening here. And that's what's the problem here, is that I end up using the MLA30 loop because that antenna is way too noisy. Chris Alpha Tango doesn't see the FT450. It's right here in the background behind my chair. I know it's not very... I need to... I forgot. I was too busy because I wanted to plug it in and have it working for one of the live shows. Pedro Santos. Nice to have you on board, Santos. Ian Millet. Ian. Nice to have you here, Ian. Baltimore is on the channel. Woohoo! What else do we have? John Smith. Nice to have you here from Nashville. WA7IIC. Keegan has his Grunding Satellite Edition. Ethan Grunding Edition Satellite Radio arrived in the mail this morning after ordering last Saturday. Cool. A new toy to play with. That's cool. Shelly, nice to have you here. Shelly Sykes in Pennsylvania. William, KC9TVN, nice to have you here. Dejan, nice to have you on board, my friend. NDRC, nice to have you here. I hope everyone is keeping safe. We're trying. Nice to have you here from the UK. Ecadarius, can you imagine us all talking on the CB radio in the late 70s, talking about shortwave? Yeah, in the 70s, that would have been the case. People stuck at home. What would have been the case? Well, people stuck at home would have been on CB radio. That would have been the 70s and even part of the 80s thing. We would have set up our CB radios. Jasmine, I've listened to your show since last summer, and this is the first time interacting in the chat. I wrote you with some interesting utility logins on Sunday. Did you ever hear the recordings? Yes, absolutely. I will, and I will answer back to your message, by the way. And it's very nice, very interesting. But yep, I heard the recordings, absolutely. Mark Rich watching on Samsung TV. Seems to be iRes here too. Cool. Just in case. Some people might have it in 480p. Jersey Band, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. Mr. Simba, XH Data D808 seems to have speaker not working. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be pretty good. Reset the radio. It has a reset that you can do. Reset the radio. It could be just a it's kind of a small computer if you want, the way that it works. So it might just need to be reset for it to work perfectly. If it got zapped by static electricity, or sometimes when you put in the battery, if it behaves weird. And that is a common problem, by the way, for a lot of portable radios. It happened to me the other day on the Sangean A2S 909X. I put new batteries in, and the display was all funky. And I just removed the batteries, wait, half an hour, put the batteries back because I didn't want to reset it, and was fine afterwards. But you have a reset possibility to do a reset on the XH Data. Reset it, probably going to fix the problem. John Pickney from Oakville, Virginia, W3XWT. Everybody saying hello to Elizabeth. Hey, Jojo, nice to have you here, my friend. Nice to have you here. Let me just find where I was. So, Jojo, I'm at work with my Bluetooth so I can keep in touch. Cool. Just set up my Kenwood 5000 in my apartment. My landlord is strict with antennas, I guess. Huh? That's very, very, that happens very often. Cyberflyer 1, nice to have you on board from England. So Jojo R. Walker, nice to have you here. Jojo says antennas, so I looked to gamble to set up my low noise. My unit will give you feedback. Yeah, well, I want to know. And you can try also the MLA30 loop. A lot of people are using it indoors and having good results. It's nice to have you on board. KM6 EHD from California. Understand the times. Listening to the show on the way home from work. Nice to have you here, Tom. KC8KSK in South Carolina. So hello there, René Charbonnier from the Netherlands. What else do we have? Northern Dawn, nice to have you on board. Waiting for his takeout. I'm going to have some lasagna tonight. I'm going to order lasagna from the local restaurant. I think it's going to be good. Nick Mayakovsky, the High Frequency Coordination Committee, I think it's based in Europe. I'm not sure where it's based exactly. Chris Alpha Tango is at beer number 3. You're 2 beers ahead of me. Andy Coley, nice to have you here. Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Kathleen, higher frequencies travel less than lower frequencies. Is that right? No, not exactly. Actually, high frequencies, so shortwave is between 3 and 30 megahertz. Higher frequencies travel much better in general when conditions are right. The problem is, since solar activity is low, the ionosphere is not able to support high frequencies right now. Because in times of solar maximum, for example, 16-meter band, 17 megahertz, or 13-meter band, 21 megahertz, will actually have signals that will travel better with lower power than on the lower frequencies. The problem with the fact that there's a lot of lower frequencies used now is really dependent on solar activity, because we're at the bottom of the solar cycle. And so the lower frequencies right now propagate better. But when there's when solar activity is high, an example is 10-meter band, 28 megahertz. I mean, somebody with 10 watts will, talk over the world. And it's just crazy. Mr. Simba from Seattle, nice to have you here. Rar Walker says, so much Washington State here tonight. Yeah. Joe, nice to have you here, my friend. Red Hat Shortwave, welcome aboard, my friend. There's so much pirate activity this week. It's crazy. Crazy. I've been having fun with that. I mean, you know what? I love listening to pirate radio stations. And I have to say, thank you to all the pirates that are sending all of those programs on shortwave, because it is really cool to be able to tune into the pirate stations, listen to you guys. And I have a suggestion. I know it's more hard work, but I would kind of like if you guys would have a little more talk and maybe some, you know, you don't even have to make the own program. You can just go and scrounge the internet for some kind of, I don't know, funny tidbits here and there, funny clips, and play them and relax a little bit on the music. Just saying. I mean, I'd rather have a pirate with music than no pirate at all. But it'd be cool. And, if you don't want to do, because creating your own show is, I know, a lot of work. And probably a lot of pirates actually just, on the fly, just say, hey, let's switch on the transmitter and just go on. But, you could go on YouTube, you could go on the internet. There's a lot of stuff that you could just, have a couple of songs, play a little, I don't know, a sketch of something that you found on the internet about, a funny sketch or whatever. And then, you could have your IDs and stuff, and, just a suggestion. But for the rest, I'm very happy to have all of you guys on. This week I've heard Sicko Radio. It's actually on right now. No, it's Ion Radio. I hear something on 6930 very weak, which I think it's Ion Radio, but it's not very strong right now. But I've heard this week. I've heard Sicko Radio. I've heard Triple X Radio. I've heard Radio 48, which was via Mixed Radio International. And I've heard Zeki's Attic. What did I hear this week? Radio Illuminati was heard very well yesterday, I believe. There was... What else did I get? There's one that is new to me, Nordic Twin Radio. I think, you know what? That's another thing that's going to happen. I think we're going to have a lot of new pirates on the air because of what's happening. So this is really interesting times, and I've never received so many pirates as we have in the last week or two, and I think this is going to continue for a little while for sure. So it's kind of interesting. Ecadarius remembers in the good old days you had to send off for the latest shortwave schedules. Yep, and some stations were putting you on a mailing list, so you would get like a couple of schedules over time. So kind of cool. Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you here, Rodrigo. And listening to shortwave in Brazil and worldwide receiver with the XH Data D808 and the Texan PL600. Nice to have you on board from Brazil, my friend. John Pickney says, not enough likes for the people watching. Matt says, KBS on 15575 is only good for a few weeks in the summer, too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They should really, really change that. And I hate it because I have the impression they just don't care. I think I should write them and say, so you don't care for your listeners to hear you? Because, you're wasting transmitter power anyways. Artist Crafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Says reception has been great the last few days. Yesterday, I listened to the bands up to 05 UTC, and propagation was amazing. Ralph Bender, nice to have you here from Germany. Dejan says here in Germany, KBS always has very great, strong signals. Yeah, you guys have the relay from Wolferton in the UK. And even the one that's direct, I think it's 11810, makes it better over there than what we have here. Here in North America, it's crazy. It's like they don't want to. They don't even want to make an effort. William Helms, nice to have you on board from Florida. Degen received a QSL card from our all beloved radio preacher. You can guess who? Really? He sends QSL cards? Oh God, I don't know. I'd put it upside down in my album. Jerry DX, make sure you're 6 feet away from the radio. Yeah, if I get sick from the radio, I don't know. I don't know what I got the shortwave flu. Here at the pharmacy, they have a new thing since what, Thursday? Before you get in, they take your temperature, they ask you if you traveled, and they ask you if you cough. After, they let you in, but only a maximum of 10 people at the same time in the store, and they tell you to stay away from everybody. It's so weird. JD Williamson, nice to have you on board, my friend. Joe says, beautiful day in New York, but we have to stay inside most of the time. I'm lucky. Like a beautiful day like today, tomorrow's supposed to be really nice also. I can sit on my balcony. I'm outside in the sun and listening to the radio. It's pretty cool. Ray Kelly, nice to have you here from Nova Scotia. Mike Hill, I'm seeing KBS South Korea on 15575, even back in 1981. They've been on that frequency for a while. Oh, yeah. My QSL cards from KBS World Radio. I'm scanning my QSL card collection right now. And I can tell you that pretty much all of my QSL cards from times of high solar activity give me 15575 as the frequency I heard radio, KBS World Radio. Callum, nice to have you on board, my friend. Joseph Nusser. Bonjour, Joseph. Nice to have you here, Joe, from Virginia. When you played the Radio Berlin International's interval signal, I had a flashback. There are some like that we have flashbacks, I can tell you. Nice to have you on board, FB Lassie. Nice to have you here from Oakland, California. And you're an essential worker. So nice to have you here, and stay safe, please. Radioactives decoding weather facts from NMG New Orleans on 12789.9. Weak, but readable. Cool. What else do you have? John Pigney, changing from one band to another is more than just changing frequencies. Depending on the station, the engineering isn't cheap. Yeah, I know, absolutely. I totally understand that it's not just that, but I mean, when you're a big gun, governmentally owned station, you should. I mean, come on, South Korea, KBS World Radio, owned by the government of South Korea, which is it should, and they use other frequencies. They use 11810. They use, when you look at their schedule, actually, they use tons of frequencies. They already have what it takes to broadcast on multiple frequencies. They just don't want to do it. It's not like a small broadcaster, because I understand, for a small broadcaster, it's a much more complex thing. That's for sure. But it's crazy. Joe says liquor is required. Yeah, that's another thing, Vince. Booze stores stay open for sure. Oh, I know, man. That's why they keep it open. They say that alcoholics going to withdrawal will fill. A lot of them will flood to the hospital. So Jasmine said, thanks to everyone making me feel welcome. Well, everybody is welcome. So, Jasmine, I think that's one of the things that's interesting, because Jasmine has struck a nerve here with the phrase, I was kind of nervous to interact. I think anybody that's not used to being in a crowd and interacting, I told everybody a while back that when I started doing when I started doing like bulletin board system and stuff, I remember my first ever live chat that existed, and it was, I don't know what the system was, but it was like I would say early 90s, like 1990, and it was a system where we would actually chat live. That was the first time I had that type of interaction. And I remember I was stressed. I was nervous to write something because, like, oh, there's other people there. But this is actually a very good group, and I think we have to be. But there's a lot of people that watch and never interact because they, they're nervous, or they don't feel the need. They like to watch the. I don't know how many times I've had some people say, you know what, I like to watch the chat room's interaction, but I'm not in there. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you here from Greenfield Park, Quebec. It's nice to have a international radio report recording just a little earlier. It's pretty cool. Yeah, well, you know what, Jerry? For whatever it brings in, I don't think the money is they're spending so much right now here that I don't think whatever money brings in from the liquor store is that much of a of an interest. Larry, nice to have you here from Georgia. What else we have? Lee Burkett, nice to have you on board, Lee. UWE 57er, nice to have you here. Germany, nice to have you on board. Belka DSP, yeah, I've seen that Catalan, the Belka DSP. So it looks interesting. PLF Radio, you talked about liquor. Here they say tobacco dealers has to stay open for the same reason. So here we have tobacco is sold at even at a corner store. It's like there's no official. We don't officially have a tobacco store here. We do have two things that are kind of the official place. If you want weed, there's the official place for that, and if you want alcohol, there's the official place for that. Both of them are open, so you can drink and smoke at the same time, or whatever. Lockdown in the UK, listening to Shortwave, SDR, and WBCQ on internet radio. Cool. Nice to have you here. What else about Enrique? Nice to have you on board. Got a source for a ladder line. Building a doublet in my apartment, and I need some. Anybody have some place particular that they purchase all of that? Osakama, nice to have you here. Where are you located? Here we are in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And it's very nice to have everybody on board. Let me just find where I was, because I lost my place. And okay, here we are. So I was here. Tom the Xer got his MLA 30 today. 12 days from order to delivery. Cool. That's not bad of a wait. 12 days. I guess things are slowly getting better. R. Walker, did you ever look into simulcasting the show with OBS Studio on YouTube and Twitch? You'll get more money from people like me with Amazon Prime. Honestly, I didn't take the time. I've got so much stuff going around that I didn't have time to really look into it. because I do have a Twitch account, and I do. So I know that there's a possibility of doing all of this. Eventually, we'll look into it, for sure. Enrique, on sideband CB, there's still good radio conversations to be had. Yeah, there's a few here. I actually I was talking about that a couple of weeks ago about there's a gang on channel 16, lower sideband, and they have great technical conversations. They are more technical than most ham conversations I hear on the air, actually. So crazy. Mr. Lucky Train from southeastern Pennsylvania. Listening to you brings a sense of calm and normalcy in these stressing times. Glad you're able to broadcast as usual. Yeah, there's nothing that's changed that will not make me broadcast, and that's also the same thing with the International Radio Report. I think a lot of people were happy we did it because it has that, every week you have that that regular schedule of things that you do, and I think people need that right now. They need a certain order of things that they still can do and still can have like they do in regular times. I think it calms everybody down. Dejan zapped his Texan PL 660 a few months ago with static electricity. Shortwave didn't work anymore. At least Amazon replaced it for free. That's cool. It's something we got to be careful because, especially when it's very dry, if you have carpet, you can easily zap a shortwave portable. Terry Cook, nice to have you on board. KF7BQ in Western Montana. Joe waiting delivery of his Sony 2001D, bought from Seattle. Cool. Mad Radio DXer says hello to Elizabeth. Everybody's saying hello to Elizabeth. So it's nice to have everybody on board for sure. Rufus Newt, where's Paul? He's somewhere in the house. I think it was in the bedroom, sleeping on the bed a little earlier. I think it was in the bedroom. So, Mad Boy, good day. Nice to have you here, my friend. Rebel Foxy, there's one here know about the S450 DLX SSB mod. I didn't even know there was an SSB mod. I do have the S450 DLX over there that doesn't work. It's totally crapped. If I turn it on and start tuning, it doesn't change the frequency, or if it does, it changes in reverse, and it doesn't seem to receive anything, and it's all crapped out. It's so weird. Kevin Jane Apollo, WS2H, nice to have you here. Great advice on speaker with D808. I had to reset my radio 5 times when I first received it. So far, so good. Cool. I think it's really, the XH data, D808, and any radio that actually is using the silicon integrated chip. These are computerized radios, so it's easy to zap, or for some reason to have some kind of awkward problem with the radio, because the chip is kind of, it's like a computer. It needs to be reset, and very often just that is enough. It doesn't happen. I got somebody once that said, I bought 3 Texan and they were all defective, and I said, well, I don't know what you're doing, man, because yes, I think you probably have the possibility of getting a defective device, for sure. It's not impossible. But man, I bought so many radios. I never had one that was a defect, and I got dozens of radios. And I think that most of the time, there's a quality control done and everything, and most of the time they are okay. And it's like I said, you can have a defective one. It's not that you cannot, but I don't know. When you say, I bought 3 Texans and they're all defective, I don't want to be rough, but sometimes I have more the impression that, well, either you're rough on the radios or you're trolling Texan. Because that happens. There's a lot of bashing of Chinese brands on the channel here. I have so many people like always bashing the Chinese brands, always ranting at the Chinese stuff, and Texans are bad. Yeah, they're. I've got many of them, and they're not. I'm not saying they're all good, but Texan makes pretty good radios, I gotta say, and and so on, and I get that all the time, and it's like I think a lot of the comments, there's a part of the comments of the negative stuff of Texan and XH Data and Degen and whatever that is much more, um, you know, bashing or ranting against Chinese made radios, and they're all made in China, anyways. Somebody the other day sent me an email and says, "Well, I'm happy to not have that crappy Chinese radios. I have a C crane." Hello, it's made in China. Okay, so it's a Chinese radio sold by C crane. Mad Boy, quarantine for 2 weeks now, slightly starting to become my username. Yeah, quarantine is enough to become a mad boy, I can tell you that for sure. Man, John Pickney, FCC currently semi-closed as non-essential. Pirates galore. If they close the FCC, it's going to be pirates over the FM band across the USA. Not that I'm saying there should be, but who knows? Polarin message. I can never find any pirate stations with my own SDR. What web SDRs get these stations? Remember, they're low power, so it's a little more difficult often to have that. But a lot of the pirates here in North America are on, I would guess, the northeast part of North America. So an SDR that's in the northeast of the US probably would get a lot of these. There's a lot of pirates in Europe also that you can get. U20 in the Netherlands is great for that. Crittenden Tuttle 4. No need to be sorry because you're late, but don't do it again. Nice to have you on board, my friend. WM6V. Flo Garno is back. So back in the 70s, we could talk to Europe on 10 meters with 100 milliwatts. Yep. Cree Brian. Nice to have you here. From Germany. And his CB call, LM02. Maybe one day I'll hear that. Maybe one day I'll hear that call. Who knows? Keegan had WWV 10 and 15 megahertz on satellite earlier today, and WWVH on 15 megahertz. Catalan, pirate radio means people are talking outside the ham bands, military bands. Pirate radio is simply a broadcast that is unlicensed and shouldn't be out of where it is. So in general, and so pirate radio stations are usually, stations that will play music or have different types of programming. And they will, of course, have that done and broadcast without a license in general. Radioactive gardening helps me to not get cabin fever during lockdown. Yeah, that's a pretty good thing. Absolutely. Cree Brian, what's my opinion on the shortwave radiogram? That's nice. I mean, it's a part of our hobby. I like the shortwave radiogram. I have not decoded one in a little while. Actually, it's because I need to check the schedule. But when I see that there's one coming, I like to set up the software and decode some. I think it's kind of cool. What else do we have? Green Brian, got one of my handheld CB radio working again, but for every operator and also shortwave listener, pirate listening, PLC. What's PLC? Northern Dawn FM pirates are pretty active here. John Pickney, one classic radio clandestine broadcast had a great spot on Fildery's marijuana helper. Farney Jr., nice to have you here. Red Hat Shortwave. When I started the station, it seemed like most stations were running some flavor of classic rock. By background, my station's is a new music alternative station. Talk is not my forte. Yeah, that's why I am. You know what, Red Hat? That's why I was mentioning, because I know a lot of pirates don't necessarily want to talk. And it's fine. I mean, we don't all have the skills, you know. I would guess if I had a pirate station, if you hear somebody talking for 3 hours, you might think, well, that must be Gilles doing a pirate station because he hasn't played a song in 3 hours. But not that I'm a pirate or anything. But that's why I was suggesting, you know, you could play some audio bits from something from the internet, or, you know, because I totally get it. And, you know, I know it's not everybody's thing also, you know. I mean, it's okay. So, you know. Undercover radio, yeah. I've got do I have it here close by? Do I have it here close by? I don't know if I still have it here close by. I don't think I do. Do I? Whoa. Nope, I don't have it close by. So I don't have it close by. I have the Undercover Radio CD and all sorts of things, anyways. That with one of his shows here that he sent me a long time ago. Probably in the 10, 12 years ago. But it's kind of cool to have that. Shelly says, wait, while I was in the kitchen, did I hear Jill tell pirates that? Hey, I didn't say anything. Did I? Kevin Wood has sporadic E-alerts in the past few days. Cool. Rebel Foxy, nope, there are some AM pirates, not just single sideband. Vianney Arsenault, bonjour et bienvenue de la Gaspésie. Hope everything's all right in your part of the eastern province of Quebec. CJ, anyone know somewhere other than HRO to get secondhand transceivers? Huh. What else do we have? Yeah, Universal Radio, I think, has used receivers. That's true. That's true. Infinite love, Callum. Ehab, nice to have you here from Brussels, Belgium. David, KG4CMY. Have some old QSL cards from Radio Australia. Funny, they're all upside down as well. Oh, man. What else do we have? Michael Plays, nice to have you here. David says we can go outside for walks. Yeah, we can go outside here too for walks. It's funny because one of the unusual things is having a walk and everybody changes the side of the street, or they will walk in the street to make sure that they stay far away when you meet, which is kind of awkward. Rick in Ohio, W8PRR. Nice to have you here. Ham Radio KN4YEM from Central Virginia. Marvin Mutz. Nice to have you on board from the Japan Islands. Konnichiwa. Red Hat Shortwave. Looking to moving to the summer frequency near 6285, starting with the next show. So kind of interesting. Pirates have been using a lot of low frequencies lately. Joe saw another cool cat toy. It's a fish that flops back and forth. Cats and kittens find it irresistible. Yeah, I think I saw that. I think I saw that. Paul is having fun with one thing very simple. I get good food boxes. So when they're empty, I opened it up and I made a tunnel with like three good food boxes, one next to each other. And so what I do is I start playing with my hand in one end, and he goes crazy going through the tunnel to catch the hand. And then I go with the other end, and it's like he's going back and forth. It's just hilarious, and has a lot of fun with that. Very simple to have fun with cats. Just bring a couple of bucks. Nice to have everybody here. Well, Foxy got Argentina International. Yeah, probably the broadcast from WRMI. Sean Pickner, ever used a beverage antenna? Nope. Nah, not in this city. And never had enough or was in a place long enough for any beverage antennas to be, because these are really long. Oh yeah, I know, Matt. It's crazy with when alcoholics miss their alcohol. Don't worry, guys. I'm not there. I can go many days without alcohol, and I'll be all right. What else do we have? Joe says, I don't drink much, but there are times when a drink really hits the spot. Yeah, that's good. John Pickney, BBS's, yeah. Harry Subtle, I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Man. Joe says, I see your channel is gaining popularity. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm almost at I need to post more videos because I've been a little lazy on the radio videos this week, but I'm this channel is like at 200,000 views per month, which is nice for a shortwave channel, honestly. Jean-Marc Letz, nice to have you on board. Bonjour de Strasbourg en France. It's now my 5th day not eating because of a crisis, but I survived 13 days fasting. How come you're not eating? You got to eat. Penniless Plantation. Some of us are new and know nothing about shortwave radio, and that's why this is the great place to learn. I was surprised. One thing, Egadaria says here in the States, the supermarket is doing price gouging. I was surprised to buy a 5-pound bag of potatoes for $5, and I was like, "What? They're usually like $3 or $2.50. What is that thing? A $5 5-pound of potatoes? This is expensive." So crazy. Trying to catch up with everybody. By the way, guys. I just need to find where I was. Okay, here we go. Michael plays. Well, here we can go outside. It's just that except for walks and groceries and pharmacy, there's not a lot of stuff to do around here because pretty much everything else is closed. Ryan Burnham, nice to have you here, Ryan. And Ellie Warren. Hello. Cool. I think everybody needs to stay safe. PLF Freighter received a strong ham station on a 20-meter band on RSP1A. At first, I thought it was an AM signal, but I zoomed on the waterfall. It was USB. Located in the same city and located. Oh, you must have a ham station real close to you. Probably. Mr. Lucky Train, any new shortwave products, radio antennas? Apart from the new Texan PL990, H501, the Ethon, that Eton Elite whatever radio, and a few things that, from what I've heard, are all delayed because of the manufacturing delays in China. Not that much happening, actually. Cyberflyer 1 back in the 80s, we could DX US truckers on 27 megahertz. Yep. What else do we have? Rebel Foxy, will there be more shortwave channels? It's crazy because a lot of stations are not finding a reason why it should be. Penniless Plantation. It depends how much money you want to spend, but XH Data D808. XH Data D808 is a great first-time radio. If you want to spend less, Raddy Wow R108 is also pretty good. Bottom Texans also, like Texan PL 310 ET, are pretty good, not too expensive, but they don't have single sideband. Jay Watterson 69, nice to have you here. Zongxin Lee, nice to have you on board from South Korea. Go knock on KBS World Radio's door and say that you have to change frequencies. Nice to have you here from South Korea. Simon Templar, nice to have you here from Portland, Oregon. Pretty cool. Everybody's saying hello to Elizabeth. Anything else? Let's check it out. Keegan 10051 USB, Trenton military weather. Radioactive. So if the radio has to be reset from time to time, why did they use Windows OS? I mean, don't worry. A Mac and a Linux machine also needs to be reset from time to time. Rebel Foxy, wish they'd give Voice of the Report of the Week more time on the radio. Yeah, but he pays most of this airtime with his own money, so at some point, there's a lot of money spent broadcasting. Ray Kelly, Texan makes some decent portables for sure. JD Williamson, well, I had one that defected. Yeah, defected sounds more like you had one radio that kind of ran away. My radio ran away because it just didn't like my way of handling. So it became defect by connecting the antenna to the radiator. I zapped. Yeah. These are things you got to be careful. But I'd be worried if a radio defected from your home. Maybe it's maybe it's trying to run away from something. Today's figures. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Hello from Alcatraz. Matt Texan makes awesome portables. First token. Nice to have you on board. It is just a matter of luck. I got a Kenwood TS2000 that was dead on HF right out of the box. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. It does happen. I would be surprised at one thing. Is how many receivers actually got problems in the shipping. Because anybody that's seen shipping knows that these guys are not careful with these things. Huh? Some of them throw the boxes and who cares because they work fast. And you look at that, and actually, sometimes when I look at some of that, I'm amazed that the stuff we get actually still works. So, really crazy. What else do we have? JDX, some of the Chinese radios are okay, but their viruses are total crap. You can keep them. Hey, nothing like a XH data that they coughed in, like in The Simpsons. I've got the XH data D808 Corona edition. Great, Brian. My Sony's a little bit better than my Texan, though. But the Texan LCD is definitely superior to the Sony's analog mechanical display. Definitely there are better radios than others, and definitely there are some radios that beat, if I look here, my Grundig G5 beats my Texan in reception for most of them. So it's slightly better, but like Texans are better than some other models. There's always some receivers that are better than others. And Sony I never heard Sony do a crap radio, honestly. I've never, over the years that I've read reviews, seen a review of, oh, this Sony radio is crap. I think when Sony decided to make a radio, it really was serious in making it well and having it work well. But they were also more expensive most of the time than others. But they always were good radios. Randy, Riverside, California. Nice to have you here. Icadarius, my GPX shortwave radio made in China, I'm sure, and there are other China radios that are far better off than my GE Super Radio 3. My GE Super Radio 3 that I have here in the shelf that I never use. I don't find that thing more interesting than a lot of other radios I've got for medium wave and for FM, honestly. And I think it has to do with the first super radios. The 1 and the 2 were probably superior. PLF radio, I think the C Crane Skywave SSV is written made in China. Yeah, it's possible. I haven't looked at the sticker, but it is made in China. But there's a lot of people that think it's the C Crane. Yeah, it's made in China. And it's actually made by Retson, which is one of the shortwave radio manufacturers in China. Most Texans are good. Texan PL310 ET, a Texan, if you want to have SSB, the Texan PL660 is a good one. Not too expensive and pretty good radios. So Lee says, you're right, Joe. I enjoy my Texan. They are very good radios, even though I even had one very long. I have loads of other receivers too. Oh, they're amazing for the price. They are amazing. Lee says, you're right, Joe. Okay. I just read that comment. I think, you put it 2 times. That's why. Jim Gordon, I love the Chinese D808 and the PL660. Unfortunately, my first Texan PL310 was deaf on shortwave. The dealer agreed it replaced PL32 was better. It just breaks into oscillations now and then. Yeah, I must have some kind of weirdness in it. Meme Connect, nice to have you on board. Happy to be here. Jasmine heard XFM last July 4th last year. They even played my request. I was happy last week when I was listening to XFM, and he was reading the comments on the HF Underground website, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go post a little hello from the official Shortwave channel. And it says, hey, it's Jill in Montreal from the official SWL channel. Everybody knows. What I really liked is when he said, everybody knows Jill in Montreal. Anyways, it was kind of nice. It was really, really nice. John Pickney says, saw a license plate frame that with I will not comply on it. Thinking about getting one that and have part 15 on my license plate. Imagine how many people are going to read the license plate and just think, Part 15, what is that? What is that? What else do we have? First token, old school definition of pirate used to be one acting like a broadcast station, music, news, kind of thing. Someone outbanding, acting like hams with no license used to be called bootlegging. Marco Volt, nice to have you here. Where are you located? Your messages of shortwave radiogram are not deleted, Crib Brian. I saw them and I actually answered. Rebel Foxy wants to be a pirate of the airwaves one day. John Pinkney, there's also a commercial radio format in the US called Pirate Radio, KQLZ in LA, and Z100 in New York City immediately come to mind. Kind of interesting. If you want to listen to ham radio operators, penniless plantation, you need to have one with single sideband or SSB. What else do we have? Sheldon Harvey says for secondhand transceivers, get in touch with a local ham radio club. Hams always have stuff to sell. Well, that's true. And if you have if you are aware of any ham fests around you, probably not now, because most of them probably don't have any ham fests anymore. But when things come back to normal, ham fests are a great place for used transceivers. Just make sure you test them out and make sure that you look at the radio to, because you can get screwed by somebody for sure. The Rifleman 336, nice to have you here, and 8UCN. Have you gone crazy with the quarantine yet? No, I keep my mind occupied with radio and other stuff. Look at today. Today's I had to do a couple of videos this morning. I had to record the International Radio Report. I had to do this show. I didn't even have time to think about anything like that. I took a 2-minute check because 1 p.m. Eastern is the time when the Prime Minister of the province talks and gives us information of what's happening. So I took like 10 minutes to just look at whatever he's announcing and went back to my normal whatever. I got a new Armin Kardon turntable in the mail Wednesday. I've been playing all of my old records that I haven't played in ages. So I before the show, I actually spent half an hour listening to Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" album. So it's kind of nice to hear that. I haven't had, I took out tons of albums. I actually found my album. So in 1984-ish, there was a contest on the French Radio Canada International mailbag show. And they were asking us to mention 5 or 10 Canadian artists. And I wrote them so 10 Canadian artists. And a week after, I'm listening to the mailbag, or 2 weeks after, and I hear my name, and I won. And I actually won a record from a Canadian artist called Angèle Arsenault. I actually found the album, and which I always kept because I don't really listen to that type of music much. But I kept because, hey, I won it from Radio Canada International back in like 84 or something like that. I remember because I live in the city where Radio Canada's is. There was a little CBC car that stopped in front of my house, and some guy came out with the album and gave me the album. I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Sean Fitzgerald says, great autobiography on FM Pirates station was 40 watts to nowhere. Bay Area pirate of the 90s. Huh, interesting. A memoir. Okay, more of a memoir. Matthew Wells watching TV over antenna. Cool. Affinity Caravanning. In the UK, the pirates that captured my interest back in the mid-80s, Laser 558, aboard the communicator off the coast of Essex, with enough power to cover lots of Western Europe. Cool. Cool. Tom DXer, I'm into astronomy like you. Have you heard about Comet Atlas? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's huge. Its atmosphere is like something like half the size of the sun right now, which is crazy. So actually, you're talking about that. Do I have the paper here? No, it's over there. But I did. You'll see that I'm not saying, everything wrong. I actually have the sky map with here's the line of where Comet Atlas will be, and the next few days until March 31st, because I don't think I'll hear it. I'll see it. But tonight the skies are supposed to be clear, and it's like just barely at the edge of naked eye visibility. Now, I'm in a big city, so I'm not going to see it with naked eye, but I thought I'd bring out my binoculars and try to see if, just out of curiosity, if I could see it. I don't think I will because, light pollution here is heavy, but I'm curious. Will I see it? I'm kind of curious. But apparently it might become, if of course, comets are comets, but it might become extremely bright in mid-May, which will make it easy for everybody to see it wherever you are. What else do we have? Yep, Radio Caroline. They got a legal license, absolutely, recently. They're now on the air. Totally legal. Pete F. Barrett. Nice to have you here from Mansfield, UK. Thanks for the great show. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Stay safe to you also. Matt, my favorite station here is a college station from Boulder. They're low power FM in Boulder on 1190 AM. Wow, cool. Ernie Turner, good morning from Australia, VK3DET. Nice to have you on board. Vince Perrault about ChinaMade. The company research development will give it to China manufacturer, and R&D decide quality of components. So it's not about made in China. It's about, absolutely. It's, and what also is often the case is it's how much are you prepared to pay for something? Because that quality of components will often go with the price you're going to pay. Mark Cope, 11985, Madagascar, S9 plus 20. Joe, I think you should cover radio scanners more. I love my TRX1 and many Radio Shack scanners that I have accumulated over the years. I try to keep that for the VHF, UHF channel, and I need to reactivate that channel a little more and try to maybe bring in eventually a live show there. Fast Eddie, VE3KRP, nice to have you on board from Ontario, Canada. Fast Load, nice to have you here from Montreal. What else do we have? Rebel Foxy is planning on getting an HF boat anchor transceiver. So if we hear a obscure punk and metal pirate, we're going to think about you, René Charbonnier, because we can no longer have contact with other people and have to stay at home, we have taken the UHF radios out of the closet. now have a nice round of conversations every day. Oh, cool. This, I think there's going to be, let me just take a beer here. So this is beer number 2. I'm not drinking very fast. Maudit, which means it's the beer of the damned, actually. So I think it's a great time to bring out every aspect of any hobby that people are having, including amateur radio. And I was saying that there's an uptick in pirate radio activity. There's an uptick of amateur radio conversations. When I listen to the ham bands, there's a lot more people in the ham bands, I can tell you that. So I think it's time to take out those radios. It's time to, even if you're not an amateur operator or anything, you got a CB out there, why not take it out? Let's revive the CB bands and have contacts. Maybe I should set up my 102-inch now with my old TRC 432 and see what we can do. JD Williamson, Mac reset, did reset the old Mac. First token, carrier 9112 AM. Rick WOHP 1390, wish you were here on Shortwave. Internet was out Wednesday. Did get Ham Nation on WTWW. So yeah, damn Ham Nation on WTWW. Let's hope the internet holds up. Zachariantel, nice to have you here. Tell me a story about radio. Imagine, John Pinckney, you pick up the oh, that maybe is the thing. Number stations, they are the ones giving the lottery numbers. Oh, man. What else do we have? Dick Carrick, Brian. Rufus Newt in the day, Sony was very good quality. Yep, absolutely. That is true. JD Williamson. I always say it. I always say to everybody when they tell me, well, oh, well, I'm sorry, I only have this radio. First, don't be sorry for what you have. What you have is what you have. And you got to use it. And I'll say it again and again. I'd rather have somebody that has one radio, even if it's not the best in the world, that turns it on every day, than have a ham radio operator with a $2,000 receiver that's in a shelf that never gets turned on ever. It's just crazy. Joe Rodman, my Sony CRF 320, I think is the number, not 230, right? Best shortwave radio by far. Rifleman 336, I own a Super Radio 2 by Super Radio 3. They over cheapened the components and it went straight to hell. I'm not, I can't say I'm impressed with anything of the Super Radio 3. And actually, I find it kind of flimsy, cheap for what it is. And when I purchased it, I thought, hey, a Super Radio. And I got a deal actually with it. When the Super Radio 3, so I bought it at the Canadian Tires here in local Canadian Tire store. And when I saw it, it was on sale at, I think it was $69. But on top of it, they had taped a little portable Grundig, the Mini 100. It was actually taped over it. So it's like you get these two for $69. So when I saw that, it was like, oh, okay, I'm getting it. And I had heard a lot of good things of the Super Radio 3. I mean, it has great sound, okay, with the huge speaker and the controls for the sound. It has great sound, but I've never was impressed in any way with that radio. David Martin, good afternoon. Nice to have you on board. Joe, my Super Radio 3 pulls in AM stations from several states away. I do like the looks of the Model 2 and 1. Would buy one if it was in perfect condition, but prices are very high. I think the first two ones, 1 and 2, were way better, honestly. Bobby Burgess. Nope, no English or French or Portuguese or any other languages. Radio Exterior de España is right now broadcasting only Radio Nacional España broadcasts because of what's happening. Oh man, John Pickney. AM stereo Sony receivers. Wow. Thomas, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Nice to have you here. Our series. World War III starting in the next 5 years. I'll put an S in front of that. Shortwave War 3. Our series from Syria. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Jasmine says, Jill, you should do a DJ show someday. Sheldon already. Oh, I smell Duran Duran coming up. And next on this radio show, we will have a couple of songs from an old band. Here is Hungry Like the Wolf. Oh, man. Really. What else do we have? OSI, nice to have you here from Belgium. And says, is the Sony ICF Shortwave 1 a good radio? I mean, all Sonys are pretty good. The thing is, I wouldn't pay too much for an old radio. Honestly, I never find that old radios are worth the high prices that people ask for. Just crazy. Bo Jeffrey made a loop antenna for urban shortwave listening purposes. As you suggested a few weeks ago, it works so much better than my whip and wire setups. Loops are great because they are you're able to remove some of the noise, and often it really changes and makes reception a lot better. So, really nice. John Pickney, the Yamfest in Northern Virginia Community College. Yeah. Unfortunately, it'll be a little while like that. Hope that things come back soon. If I miss anything, just say it again, guys, because I'm trying to catch up a little more with the chat room. So, David Martin, when a ham uses the pro word monitoring, what does that mean? It's not a standard amateur pro word based on my Google searches. Well, monitoring is simply that he's listening in. He's listening in. Monitoring does not mean you're part of anything special necessarily. Monitoring is simply that you're just listening in. For most hams, monitoring is just listening in. And of course, Liam's got his Texan 2000 today. Cool. Are you happy with it? Hope you like it. Sheldon Harvey, time for a shameless plug. Absolutely. You can ask for the free copy of the Canadian International DX Club Bulletin, The Messenger. It's a great little publication that you get every month. So you can ask for a sample copy if you never did and see what's fantastic. It's a great publication, has tons of information on radio. So, why not ask Sheldon for a sample? CIDXclub@yahoo.com. And hey, it's super cheap, $10 a year or 25 for 3 years if you want to get on board, and you'll be not just receiving a bulletin every month that even though it says the Canadian International DX Clubs, it's not just for Canadians. It has information for everybody. And not only you're receiving a bulletin, but you're part of a radio club at the same time, which is kind of cool. Luke Little, nice to have you on board. Where can I program the Baofeng? Anybody have info for that? Yes, Shelly, that was the Big Dipper in the star chart. Absolutely. So I'll be using the Big Dipper that I see very well here to try to find my way to the comet. Sean Fitzgerald, 5940. Arabic, signal not strong. Yeah, that is Radio Algeria via France transmitter site. They have a little bit of French from time to time, a French news bulletin. Most of the time when I hear the French, because, they have a schedule, but almost all the time when I see the schedule, it never is in French. So basically what happens is I stumble across a French transmission and then notice, it's Radio Algeria with their French language 10-minute, news bulletin. Because most of the broadcast is in Arabic. That comes from the Issoudun transmitter site in France. Joe Sombranuas, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Brazil. Venus is very, very bright in the at night. It's pretty much at its max height right now. Easy to see after sunset. If you see a really, really bright star and you think it's a plane, it's probably Venus. It's very, very bright right now. So it's really cool. Yes, I know, Fastload. I need my license. I need to get on the air. Mad Radio DXer, do you like your beer cold or at room temperature? I would have thought you have a mini fridge on the radio area. No, I actually have a bucket with ice water. And the beer is in the ice water bucket to keep it cold. I usually like my beers very cold. As cold as just, actually, my beer is on the edge of freezing cold. I like that. I like that. John Pickney had an interesting conversation with an FCC guy at a Hamfest. I was wearing a T-shirt. If it isn't running on three-phase 4,160 volt AC, it's only QRP. I like that. Oh, my God. Tom the X-Ray's got his binoculars. Sec, is it bad? My iPad has better speakers than my laptop. I can tell you one thing. A lot of laptops have crappy speakers over the years. I was laughing one day because I had a Toshiba laptop, my old 12-year-old Toshiba laptop. And it had little tiny speakers on top, and it said Armin Kardon, which is a well-known high fidelity brand of audio equipment. And I listened to stuff on that laptop, and I was laughing my head off that why do you brand this Armin Kardon? It sounds crappy. Until one day, I'm in a room with tons of other people that have laptops. I put my stuff on, and everybody's like, why is your laptop so loud? Mine, I can barely hear what's coming out of it. And that's where I understood, okay, it might sound crappy to my ears, but it is a million times better than every other laptop in this room. So, okay, yeah, it is better quality. I understand now. My Acer Nitro 5 gaming laptop is amazing on the audio side. And man, the way they actually put the speakers, when you play a game and you don't have your headphones, man, the stereo left to right and all of that is amazing. I'm totally amazed at this Acer Nitro 5. Really, really an amazing laptop, I gotta say. Jasmine, being locked down, we all feel damned. B3KRP, didn't know you were into astronomy. Doing that here for quite a while. I a long time ago, I had a 6-inch telescope, and I would go up north and do a lot of astronomy. It was something I really enjoyed, and I had a subscription to Astronomy, Sky and Telescope. One here in Canada, I think it comes from the Royal Astronomy. I had one. Man, I followed everything. So, crazy. Marf. Enjoy your beer and radio. That cool to spend good time during these days for everyone. Cheers from Marseille. Cool. Nice to have you here. Actor says, interesting hearing NOAA voice broadcast on NMG wavefax frequency. I think 12789 is also used by some stations for upper sideband voice broadcasts, if I'm not mistaken. So, what else do we have? Nicodarius, at night, there's a station, 4985, lots of strange noises. Oh, interesting. Kevin Wood, sharing our hobby is more important than ever. Absolutely. Perfect Paul. Joe Sambraniu says CB and ham radio very active these days in Brazil. Wow, cool. That is cool. Kevin Woods got the Super Radio too. You like it? And how would you compare it to, say, a good shortwave portable? Do you see a difference, Kevin? David Martin, just saying your call sign is enough to equate to a CQ on voice, so the extra pro word monitoring or listening seems extraneous. Yeah. But, they just want to say that they're listening, and that's pretty much it, honestly. Kadarius, my Super Radio 3 is a great radio. Still works well. Okay. Ruffleman 336, Super Radio 3 has speakers wired backwards. Some chassis grounding problems. Yeah, I almost opened mine once because a lot of people are saying that it totally improves the reception when you actually reverse the wires on the speakers. Jerry DX cracked open his first beer. Cool. Yeah, daytime adventure is canceled. Absolutely. Leonard Nigel Lawrence, G0MEJ. Nice to have you on board from Northwest England. Yeah, Kevin, when monitoring is often heard on, after a conversation, they'll say, well, okay, I'm here monitoring now. Bonsoir, PLF Radio. Prends soin de toi. Brian Penny, Mystery Radio 21 from Germany, 4700 kilohertz AM, beginning to make its way into the East Coast. Let's see if I get anything here. 4700. I see the signal in the display, but so right now I have absolutely nothing here. But later at night, when it stays there for a while, I see a little peak in the display, but it's too noisy to actually get it. So, Ecadarius have this book you would like, Jill. It's called Handbook for Space Pioneers. Really awesome. Cool. JRDX are supposed to have a comet coming close to Earth soon. Not sure if it will be visible to the naked eye. Yeah, it's right now it looks good though. Atlas, which is not far from the Big Dipper at night, might be very, very, very good at some point, but we'll see. Zach. No, it's not a bucket to piss in. It's a bucket of beer. The funniest thing is when I open when Paul the cat actually comes in and I leave it there because like on Wednesday I had the bucket and I forgot it and it was full of water. So I'm doing something on the computer and I'm hearing, sap. I'm hearing, and I look and Paul the cat is actually drinking the water from the bucket. And I'm like, oh, okay. Ivan, nice to have you here. Hi, Cholakov. Good afternoon. But it depends on the beer, absolutely. Like Matt said, there are some beers I actually drink at room temperature, and I find them quite all right. Depends on the beer. David in Barcelona, Spain. Nice to have you on board. And starting to think lockdown can be that bad. Just a few minutes ago, worked NE1C on 40 meters. His very first North American QSO on single sideband. That is great. Caesar, nice to have you here. Next radio generation after C, Creighton CC, Skywave SSB. Hello, Mr. Whatever name. John Pickney, the FCC guy, asked me if I'd ever operate a rig running that much power. He got interested when I said yes. Oh, oops. Oops. Darren Pierce, nice to have you on board in his bunker in the VK3 land in Australia. It's interesting how we all are locked down, but at the same time, thanks to things like this, we're all on, having fun and sharing and kind of, it's like being in a big room, but far enough apart that we will not get sick. Catalan, so let me just go by order here. Simon Templar, Lenovo Y50 Touch Gamer Notebook, excellent speakers and a sub. Gaming laptops usually have great sound. My Acer Nitro 5, I'm so happy with this machine. Really, really great. So, Catalan, I actually, for a long time, because, there's a guy that ranted about this, a guy from Finland. Because when I started YouTube, I created like 25 different channels, and I thought I'm going to try different subjects and keep the ones that work. Of course, at first you're like, I'm going to make videos for all of these channels. Yeah, right. It's I barely can keep up with 4, and 3. So you get to a point where you got to let go of some. And one of my ideas was on astronomy. I I thought, it's one of my passions. An astronomy channel could be really cool. And I thought it could be cool to have it in bring it in a different way. Astronomy for people that live in big cities. Because, when you live in a very small town far from everybody, it's really nice. You got a dark sky. But in big cities, what can you see? A lot of people think that in a big city we don't see that much, and we actually see much more than than people think. Actually, in a big city, and using a pair of binoculars, you actually get that extra, the extra few magnitudes of stars, and it's very surprising what you can watch. Honestly. I got rid of my telescope, Rufus Newt, because when I moved, it was such a big, clunky thing to bring around. And because I was now much more only in the city, I would not use it. And so what happened is I simply sold it to a friend of mine. Guinea loud and clear there as it is here. Let's check it out. 9650. It was good. This week it was amazingly good. So it's a little noisy. It was better than that it was better than that some of the days this week. But I think it was Wednesday. It was very, very strong. Matt says here in Colorado, there's a weekly astronomy net that's been on the air since the mid-90s. Oh, that's cool. Lee, my HP laptop has RetroArch installed. It's pretty loud. Cool. Cholaka of 9890. Japan Direct heard in Florida. Wow. Let me try 9890 just out of curiosity. Anything here? It's something very weak on 9890. Very weak. Mark Stevens, nice to have you here. Happy Friday from the mountains of North Carolina. Cool. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Pretty cool to have all of you guys here. Let's try to check it out. Rufus Newt will check the comment in low light area too. It's very, very close to naked eye right now. It's like plus 6.5, plus 7 magnitude. Anybody in a dark sky environment and even just a pair of binoculars could fetch it. And it's really, really getting bright fast. So let's cross our fingers for an amazing comet. It's been a long time. Last time we had a really, really bright comet. WHB 1390 Rick says calling CQ and FM repeaters is considered bad practice. Monitoring just states you are there for a call. Yeah, I don't see myself. I would call CQ on a simplex frequency, but not on a repeater. Hey, Zozo. Take care, René Charbonnier. What's the question? Marc de Weather. Nice to have you here. ON3MDW. Nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Rufus News got wide field binoculars. Those are good for dishing out the very low light stuff. Matt says his dad built his own telescope when he was in high school using surplus pipe left over from World War II. Wow. Cool. Glenn Zeckman, nice to have you here from Tennessee. Pretty cool. Jasmine says 9890, pretty clear. NHK Japan in Japanese. Mark Stevens, appreciate all that Jill and company does to enlighten and inform us. Cool conversation most every show. Thank you. Well, we're here for that and to have fun. And, we sometimes go a little out of whatever the subject is, but we're here to just enjoy whatever. And, I think a lot of us have multiple interests. I mean, I think anybody that's interested in shortwave radio probably is interested in quite a few other things also at the same time. It's pretty cool. Kathleen, tomorrow will also put my improved MLA 30 outside in the garden. Cool. William Moser, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Michael plays. In my city, I can see the stars in the sky since they did the lockdown. There's less cars driving around. The sky got really clear over in the last 2 weeks. Wow. I should check out if there's a difference. Catalan improved my MLA 30 by replacing the silver wire with a 30 by 3 millimeter flat aluminum bar. So it's kind of interesting. I will need to do some of these tests. Yeah, well, I wasn't sure I was going to do any of those J.D. Williamson, any of those self-promotion tonight. But what the hell? If you like what I do. You can, of course, do any PayPal donations to support me. Monetization has gone down quite a lot on YouTube with COVID-19, but my views are up. So right now it's kind of leveraging each other. So even though the monetization is crappy, the amounts of money at the end of the day are roughly the same. So I can't say I've got any bad monetization. If my views would stay the same, definitely it would be like the monetization on YouTube right now is down something like about 30 to 35%. But since my views are up a lot, it kind of just goes together. I've seen people that because YouTube and there's also people that have AdSense for apps when they they have apps for the phone and stuff. And a couple of people were telling me that they're so apps that they have for the phone that have little ads in them, the monetization there has gone down a lot, like 30 to 40%. What I see, Matt, is that there's less ads, so the click-through rate often goes with a number of ads that are available, and it's gone down from like 5% in my case to about 3.5% to 4%. So that means there's fewer ads for sure. And one of the things about Google Ads is that the ads are in a sorry if I'm moving all the time, guys, but my butt hurts. I need to put a cushion on this chair. The The other thing is so Google will put blocks of ads, and companies will, of course, purchase them. And the more people want ads, the higher the price they're going to be sold. But if there's less advertisers that want to buy ads, the price goes down. So the cost per click also is down. But if it was not for the fact that my views are up a lot, I would have probably a 30 to 40% drop. So anybody, I see some YouTubers and some other AdSense users that are kind of panicking a little right now because they're like, well, I'm down 30 to 40%. And it's like, wow, I'm lucky enough to not see much of a difference at the end of the day. But I do see that there is a difference. So where it's going to be interesting to see is the month of April. What will the month of April look like for advertisers on YouTube? But right now, I'm lucky. I don't really have much of a difference. The blind picker. Nice to have you here, Rob, in Connecticut, W0RAB. And nice to have you here. And it's nice to have people with disabilities showing us that there's amateur radio out there to and shortwave listening. That is amazing way to. I've got a spot of sun right here. It's like a tape on my forehead. So it's nice to see that the hobby of amateur radio and shortwave listening is a great one for people with disabilities. David Martin, I would often focus on Sirius then defocus to see the many distinct flashing colors. Oh yeah, especially when the atmosphere is very unstable and you get all of these rainbow colors from the stars. Pretty amazing. So yeah, pretty crazy. John, you should seek direct sponsorships. Yeah, I know. There are a few things that nothing radio related though, but yeah, there are things I could maybe check. Maybe I should have my beer sponsored. Nicodarius is watching the live stream and playing Pokemon Sword for Nintendo. I've started playing since I got a gaming laptop. Started having fun playing games. I purchased a adventure game that came out a couple of a week ago, about a week, not much more than a week ago, and that I'm having a lot. It's super beautiful, and I'm having a lot of fun with Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is a sequel to an older game. Man, that game is so beautiful to play. And it's actually, for anybody that's not an adventure or not used to playing games, it's actually not that difficult. It's a mix of adventure and kind of platform. Gaëtan Belil, bonsoir. Nice to have you on board, my friend. No problem for the late arrival. It's always nice to have everybody on board, by the way. Any new pirates right now? I'm down at the bottom of the chat. Finally. No new pirates right now. Surprising. Let's check out 5,000. See if anything's popping up here. Whoops, I just put 50,000. It's 5,000. Because anything here, I see. Well, I already have Radio Vancouver 5040. Kind of early. Well, it's 22 UT. So usually Spain should be in English at this time, but it's not. Signal from Spain is strong, 9690. Very, very strong. 9690 from Spain. But they are relaying only Radio Nacional. So no French, English, or anything right now. Same thing, if you're listening to All India Radio, there is no shortwave outlet from All India Radio. No DRM. They are focusing on broadcasting towards only their country. So there's definitely an effect of what's happening around the world in shortwave broadcasts. That's for sure. So what else do we have? KX2U, what's the software you use in the background? So I'm actually am using a RSP, an SDR Play RSPDX software-defined receiver plugged into an MLA30 plus loop antenna. What is running here is SDR Uno, which is a software that is made for RSP devices. And that's what I'm using right now. R. Walker, 4 words, Red Dead Redemption 2. He'll thank me later. I'm going to check it out. Zachary Anto, what's my favorite movie? I don't know. I would say that I do really, really like Back to the Future. Really, really like that. I'm a big fan of the original Terminator movies, not the remakes of whatever after because they don't know what to do. But I am a sucker for good horror movies. KX, do you use SDR console? Do you have a SDR Play device? KX2U? John Pickney, remember the reception reports were once an essential part of a broadcast business plan. Yep. Because they really they were a way of the station to know that you're there and there's an audience. I mean, radio stations don't know if you're there unless there's some way that you communicate with them. So here I have the chance of having statistics. Somebody was asking me one day, says oh, it's 23 I'm at, but they don't have English. They're just on Radio Nacional. There's no English, French, or anything. Even at 23, they've stopped all of that because of what's happening. I thought it was 22. I'm getting mixed up with all the. But this week I've listened both at 22 and 23, and it's just Spanish all time, nothing else. But I'll listen in at 23. We'll see. But I think they did say that there's nothing else than Radio Nacional now. So what I was saying, we were talking about. I forgot what I was talking about. Favorite movie, Radio Nacional, Radio Exterior. You use SDR console. I forgot. John Pinkney. Oh, reception report. Yeah, John Pinkney. So, here I have some people were asking, do you have stats? YouTube has very extensive statistics. I can actually pinpoint and tell you how many people from a specific city are actually listening or watching videos in a week. If I click this live show, I will have the world map that's going to tell me where everybody was. Of course, if anybody that's using a VPN, it of course falses the data, but still, you have an idea of where people are listening in. I can even tell where the likes and dislikes come from. They're going to tell you, well, you got 8 dislikes. Well, they are from here, 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 and here. Oh, okay. And of course, same thing for the likes. I'll know where the likes come from. You can check all the stats. It's pretty interesting, all the details that you get into YouTube. But for stations, radio stations, absolutely. So radio stations are, don't, unless you write, they don't know. 9390 WBCQ, it's 500 kilowatts waste of power with world's last chance broadcast. Honestly, if they have a 500 kilowatt transmitter for that piece of crap of program. I'm sorry, but that thing should be just taken down off the air. Okay, you're using a KX2U, an RTL dongle. Okay, cool. And watching 15 meters. A lot of stuff on 15 meters. Where are you located, KX2U, exactly? I know you're in the US, but Mad X Strong. Max Edstrong. Did I say Mad X Strong? I said Mad X Strong. Max Edstrong. Nice to have you on board from Michigan. Catalin. Yeah, well, from what I've seen, one of the things, because there was a very nice article a couple of days ago about so with what's happening, there's a lot more people at home right now, and there's increased traffic all over the world on the internet, but most big networks say that no, it's okay. There's no need to really throttle down or anything. We're capable of taking that extra scan and everything, that extra traffic. Keegan, my dad's W9JEF's favorite movie, the Blues Brothers. Oh, the Blues Brothers. That's a classic. The Blues Brothers is a classic. David Martin, why are the frequency gaps between successive broadcast shortwave bands? An ETM scan will miss some stations in the gap because of this. Actually, what's happening? So there are two things, David Martin, that happens with these radios and with the broadcasters. There are fixed bands where usually there are fixed bands where usually the station should be in, and that's always been, by the way, a problem for as long as I've been listening to shortwave. So you'll get a band, and they're going to say, well, 31 meters is here to here. So let's say, as an example, 41 meters is 9,400 to 9,900 kilohertz. But we all know that there's stations below 9,400 and there's stations above 9,900. And that's in every band. An example of that, WRMI on 7780. That's out of band for 41 meters. It's not in 41 meters. It's not within the international broadcast band as it's stated on paper. And there's a lot of broadcasters that are out of bands because they're not where they should be in the band. But they just get there and it's like, no, I'm here, and that's it. Unfortunately, that's the problem, is that for ETN scans, for example, manufacturers will actually build a radio. They'll take that radio and they're going to say, hey, you know what? This is the list of what we know are the official bands, and that's what they're going to program in. They've got the official bands programmed in. Unfortunately, all the out of band stations, of course, are not gonna show up. All the stations out of band are not going to show up in an ETM scan because they're not part of the scanning process. What's nice, some shortwave receivers have actually kind of, they understand, so they kind of put the bands wider than they should be. But still, a lot of stations, I think it's to get away from the interference. This was a trick that was used in the 80s and the 70s. So there was a lot of crowding in the bands. And when a station, what some countries did is they put the station just off the frequency range. So everybody was jam-packed in this big frequency range. Difficult to tune around and kind of make out. But there was always that country like a little outside of it alone. Made it easier to tune around. It made it easier to get that station because they were out of the mishmash of a million stations jam-packed together. And I think some stations today are still using that that way of broadcasting. By putting yourself in an out of band frequency, you got less chance of being interfered with another station. But of course, they are out of band technically, Yeah, Matt, Dave. I think it's since about a week and a half ago, to close to 2 weeks ago, and they had sent out a. I think I read it because we talked about it in the International Radio Report show, but I think I read it first on the Shortwave Listening Post, where Radio Exterior de España was kind of just taking the Radio Nacional, and that's it for now. Pretty crazy. What do we have here? Let me just go down. Okay. Keegan has 9330 at S4. Jim F. Nice to have you here, Jim from Rhode Island. Kathleen Alb, on my small channel, I can't see who liked, subscribed, or viewed my channel. Yes, you can. You got to use the YouTube Creator Studio. That's where all the details are. Is you're not going in the right place. Every channel has stats. You got to go to the Creator Studio and check out the detailed settings when you go to the stats, the regular stats. One of the things about YouTube is there are some parts of the statistics and the stuff that's kind of hard to find. You got to know where to go. Cyberflyer 1, also very interested in astronomy, have a reflector telescope, and binoculars. Radio and astronomy are very interesting hobbies. One of the things I really, really was happy about in the 80s, because when I did a lot of astronomy, astronomy is, once again, it's kind of solitary most of the time. And you're alone with your telescope in the darkness, very often in the darkness and the cold, sometimes in the darkness and reasonable warmth in the summer. But I was happy to have shortwave radio because I would set up the telescope, I would set up a portable radio, and I would simply not only do my stuff and watch the stars, I would listen to a station on my shortwave radio. Both of them together was kind of cool because you could listen with your ears to whatever's happening, look at the skies, find whatever you want to find. And I always thought that, man, that was so cool. Listening to shortwave and doing astronomy at the same time. Mark Stevens, I kind of don't get that, the dislikes. If a viewer doesn't like listening, watching, move on. Well, what I find mostly, because I understand the system of like dislike, honestly, in a way, because there's a lot of people say, well, there shouldn't be dislikes. I'm okay with the fact that there's like and dislikes. I got no problem with that. Where I have a problem is when you post a video about something. Say I post a video about how to turn on a feature in a radio. And somebody will come up and say, doesn't work. Yeah, it does work. You just don't do it right. But they'll put a thumbs down saying, well, this video is no good. It doesn't work. It works. Or, and like on the tech channel, well, I don't see that option. Thumbs down. Maybe you're not on the same version of Windows that I am. How about that? It's not saying that the video is no good. It's just for you, it doesn't apply. So you get like, okay, so you're one of those idiots that doesn't know what a thumb down is. Thumb down is I don't like what I see. Thumb down is not I don't have that option on my computer. You're so dumb to put a thumbs down because of that. It's like you have no idea what a thumbs down is. But at the end of the day, you know what? I am okay with the thumbs up, thumbs down thing Because the idiots out there that think thumbs down is like, yeah, that guy's gonna go in the dumpster because I'm gonna put a thumbs down on his video. You know what? You're actually creating more hype on my video because YouTube has this way of pushing you up when there's a kind of a controversy and the content. As long as the content is reasonable, when there are some thumbs down, it's like, oh, I'm going to push that. There's something happening here. People are, interacting, and some are happy, some are not. Let's push this content. There's something happening there. So anybody that thinks I put a thumbs down because that guy, nobody's going to watch it. I put a thumbs down, the video is going to be pushed away. No, you're just giving me even more importance. So that's why I got no problem with the thumbs up, thumbs down. Where I find it stupid is when you don't know how to apply a thumbs down. You apply a thumbs down because that option is not available on your computer. Man, what an idiot you are. Maybe you shouldn't have a computer. Oh, man. KX2U, Central Jersey. Cool. Andy Tobin. Nice to have you here from Newfoundland, Canada. Jim is spending some time studying for his general ham license. Well, it's a great time to do that, actually. Great time to do that. VK2, FBAJ, Brian. Nice to have you on board from Sydney, Australia. I think most of us are healthy. Do you think somebody that would actually be positive for COVID-19 would come on a chat and say it? Do you think? Honestly, I would. If I would feel bad and I know I have it and I'd be live, for example, and I feel kind of, I would say it. I would say, yeah, I got it. I don't see why I would not say it. I don't see why it's a problem. You're not going to get it through my microphone. It's not traveling through the internet. Mika Delmage, nice to have you here. Most every recording from the 70s of Radio Prague that I have on 7345 kilohertz at QRM from CHU. Oh, man, yeah, when they were on 7335. Absolutely. John Pickney. WF7I Homebrew. Thank God it's Friday. Take care, Lee Burkett. It's nice to have you here. Minopoo. Nice to have you here. John Pickner, Jerry Springer, and Maury Provis are planetary defense intelligent life. Tuning in would conclude there's no intelligence life here. Oh, man. I can tell you if aliens are watching, they're probably laughing their head off at us. Totally. They're laughing at our leaders. WF7I Homebrew. I've done ham radio and shortwave listening while doing astrophotography. I agree. Amazing combined hobby. It is, because you can do both at the same time. You can be listening to something and do astrophotography or do some astronomy, or there's a lot of other hobbies that you can actually be doing and listening. I remember I was doing some stamp collecting with my dad, and I would have my shortwave radio turned on at volume down, but it was there, and I had some stations on, and I was sometimes just reach, tune around, find something else. I remember my dad, you would look at me and because my dad didn't understand anything else than the language of French, so I would listen to English stuff often. There was a lot of it, and you would sometimes just look at me and say, "What's that?" Oh, this is Voice of America from the United States, or oh, this is Radio Norway, or oh, this is because you know, Radio Netherlands. It's in the in Europe, and he was just like, huh, okay. I would actually make an effort to try to find something in French when we would do that activity together, so that he could understand what was. And sometimes he would like, I remember once it was like, is that really Cuba in French? Yep. Radio Havana, Cuba in French. It was like, he didn't take the time to do it, but he would tune around and I would tune around and he'd be just curious as to what I was listening to. What the hell? JD Williamson, how many times I had to explain where an option is, but don't make them wiser. Thumb down his activity. Matt says, if I had COVID-19, I'd say so. It's not like I can infect people. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think too. VK2 of BAJ, Brian. I agree there would be no issue if someone here said they had it. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think so. I don't see why. Actually, with the kind of people we are here, actually, we would all feel kind of a sense of, telling that person to take care and hope that it gets better. Honestly, Joseph Ickenbaum, nice to have you on board. Your radios are masked to make sure that they're not getting sick, Rufus. Jasmine says my SDR has pre-selector, so it's quarantined. That's the thing, Kathleen. There will be live shows of watching the skies and listening to the radio. So what you're saying is I should be live from the back balcony tonight and listen to some stations and try to find the comet. Dennis Private just ordered a THD74A. Looking forward to playing with it. Cool. John Pickney, SDR allows some weird and wonderful things with a good antenna. Absolutely. And you're watching the Shortwave show from Montreal, Quebec. Anything? Not a lot of pirate activity right now. I'm surprised. I mean, we are Friday. You know why? Because there's just so many pirates all week this week. They're all pirate out. That's why Friday night pirates are not there. Anybody have any pirates or pirate activity to report right now? Because I don't see anything happening right now here on the. Like I said, they're all pirated out. So this is a show about shortwave radio. Hope you guys are enjoying today's show, as usual. Jasmine, I combined the two hobbies. I'm doing meteor detection using reflected radio off the ionized trails. Oh, cool. I like, Dennis says every day is Friday. Yeah, right now. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, man. JD Williamson, for about a week and a half ago, I had the symptoms. Doctor didn't want to come, but I had a serious pneumonia, so I prescribed antibiotics, but wasn't tested since, well, there weren't. Yeah. As long as you're getting better. If you're getting better. And try not to be careful not to infect anybody. Man Reader DX are listening to Medium Wave Pirates here at the same time. Holland, Greece, and Serbia received in the past 1600 kilohertz. You guys have so much parrot activity there in Europe. It's pretty crazy. Here here, apart from the shortwave ones, there's nothing else. Nothing else. Red Hat Shortwave. I sometimes wish your show was later. I usually don't sign on until after 01. You got to be there on Wednesday or UT Thursday because the Wednesday show starts at 0 UT. So you could do it on Wednesday/Thursday UT. 4-7. I tried earlier. There was nothing much. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, it's a little better now. It is a little better. I am getting 4700. Not super strong, but it's there. Definitely making a trace. Whoops, it's up and down, but it's getting a little better. Maybe as time goes by, as we're getting later in the evening, we're going to be, Hey, Volodya, nice to have you here. Normally never am able to watch live, so nice to still catch you on tonight. Stay safe. Don't forget the 2-meter social distancing. Absolutely, Walt and Victoria. Take care, my friend. Absolutely. Matt says, I was not surprised to see that Wolverine went live with WDDR last Saturday. I was kind of expecting that. Fun show once he moved to 43 meter. It was harder for me down at 4015. 15555. Yeah, that's W. That's pretty good here. 15555 upper sideband WJHR in Milton, Florida. And don't believe what they say in the different places. The power from WJHR is roughly 10 kilowatts. Not much more than that. I still am wondering who, apart from us hobbyists that come across that broadcast, who is actually listening to this broadcast with a single sideband receiver. I mean, I understand you might want to do your religious stuff on AM mode, but on single sideband, that's kind of okay. Zachary Antle says, of course, it's going to be 70 degrees tomorrow and nothing but a day-long thunderstorm. Oh, man. Oh, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, Red Hat Shortwave. Honestly, I really, really had a lot of fun and got a nice kick out of of listening to all of it, too. I love it. I love listening to Pirates, I'm going to tell you. Take care, Red Hat Shortwave. Stay safe, my friend. And pirate on. Let's say it like that. Pirate on. Oh, man. Joseph Ickenbaum, 15555 USB, coming S5 in California. Oh, it could be. You know what? VK2 FBAJ, I read 10 kilowatts, but you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised that they are at 250 watts. They for a while, they were kind of saying they were 50 kilowatts. No, they're not. And they're not 50 kilowatts. They're not 50 kilowatts, that's for sure. And but they are low powered. I've seen rumors of people says, of people saying it's just one. So Matt says WJHR says right in the WRTH that they're running 1 kilowatt. So so they're different hues everywhere. And I wouldn't be surprised 1 kilowatt is the maximum that they are. Honestly. Put your hands on the radio, John Pinckney. So, it's I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this station is not very strong. It's making it because in sideband, it's actually making it easy on the band. It's interesting. I was doing a scan of 19 meter band this week a few times. And what's sad is the 19 meter band actually propagates well in the daytime. But there's almost no stations using it. A lot of the stations on the 19 meter band are staying away from it. And it's sad because it's really, really Really, really an interesting band to look at. So we're on for what now? 2 hours and 40 minutes. So hey guys, it's up to you. Should I get another beer? How about it? Should I? Mickey Delmage, after you talked about the thumbs down, I know. It revives the idiots. It revives the idiots. It's just so funny. And you know what the worst part is? It's not idiots. It's one idiot with 15 different accounts. And that's the funny part of it. When you have no life and the only thing that you can do is thumbs down a show that everybody loves, shows how you have no life. Oh man. Mad Beard the Hexer, drink for the world and wish their worries away. Whoa, that is food for thought here. Huh? Zach says, yeah, get another one. Why not? JD Williamson, it's like really not much of a difference. Absolutely. You're right on that. Vianney says, yes, the wine bottle is open, so I can't leave until the wine bottle is totally gone. So I've got a 10% beer coming up. Remember, guys, that famous pumpkin spice flavored beer, La Résolution, is in the house at 10%. So here it is. Here it is, guys. I will get. Woo! I just got a nice little. Well, you guys, I don't know if you can't see. It's too loud, but with the water, it created a nice big wet circle on my shirt. So here we go, guys. It's time for La Résolution. La Résolution beer. Finally go down to the doctor. That guy on 15555 needs to take a deep breath. So it is pretty much it's almost all in. Almost all in. Okay. JD Williamson is, I got another beer. He's going to take another whiskey. I'm going to make people drink. Matt, I think that's the thing. The antenna is really, really good. So, because they do put out a pretty amazing signal. Brian says, I'm Aussie. Is there any other answer than yes, more beer? Sheldon, 4175, absolutely booming with classical music. 4175. Darn. And look how wide the signal is. The signal is so wide that this is, I don't know what the station is, but it is broadcast through Mixed Radio International. That USB signal is super wide on the display. So 4175, very, very strong pirate right now. So this is going to be interesting to see what station that is. Yeah, John Bigney, the FCC database, but it's not 50 kilowatts. I don't believe that. And I would believe more the World Radio TV Handbook that says 1 kilowatt. I would believe more the because you know what, John? At some point, I know that they planned apparently to have a 50 kilowatt transmitter, but I don't believe it's. I think 1 kilowatt is probably the closest to the reality. So cheers, everybody! Because of you guys, I'm gonna get a little more drunk. And I haven't had this beer in a long time. So this is beer number 3. Oh, it's like an interval signal. They're restarting the song over and over. What is that? Classical music radio? I was about to say something that I'm not going to say because I'll keep it to me. That's better like that. An observation that I had, but I rather no. Maybe it's better to just keep it to myself. Let's not create any. Not create any rumors of any kind. Brian says, I was so happy when they declared the bottle shops. You know, here in Quebec, they did the same. And a news reporter asked the Prime Minister, why is that an essential thing? And the answer was, he just blurted out the answer. He said, because if we close the liquor stores, there'll be a lot of alcoholics on sewerage that will actually be flooding the hospitals, which is not a good time for. And at the end, I liked his phrase because he said, and in another note, you know, if you want to be less stressed out, you know, do exercise, take a walk, and, you know, sometimes a glass of beer isn't bad. I was like, yeah, okay. Man. Flammable beer. I like that. Flammable beer. I don't know if I put a flame next to it, will it actually catch on fire? What's the minimum of alcohol in a liquid for it to actually get up in flames? Rufus Newt. Oh no, it's the resolution. Matambali has Radio Havana, Cuba. What did you say? I heard mix radio, but you're listening to the I missed that part. Mandrier the extra 10%. Wow, I think the strongest I had is 9, and it was too much for me. Yeah, 10%. I actually was at a last year. I was at a beer tasting event, and they had beer over there that was up to like 15%. It was like, whoa, okay. Flammable beer. I still like that, David Martin. I am drinking a flammable beer. Matt is getting 4175 upper Sadman isn't making there. Too early for signals, yeah. Air is really strong. It's amazingly strong. Catalan says, the only shortwave radio that I have is quite small, Sony radio with a needle. Can I make it receive USB somehow? Analog receivers are not the best for single sideband. JRDX just finished barbecuing. My fault, Sheldon. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. He says, I just missed the idea for the pirate because I was listening to you. Because I heard this is blah, 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 blah on Mixed Radio International. So it's a station name relayed by Mixed Radio International. Because that's obvious. Wide like this, that's Mixed Radio International broadcasting it. Only Mixed Radio has that. And it still says on ID here on 4175. So I don't know. But it's darn strong. I mean, wow. Look at how wide the signal is. Look at that. This is an amazingly wide signal. So you could put the I could put myself at 3,000 kilohertz wide. And I'm at 3,000 kilohertz. I'm halfway as wide as the signal is with all the frequencies. So, I mean, this is crazy wide upper sideband. It's like an AM signal that is an upper sideband. Jasmine, if it's mixed radio, I will want some Chopin. It looks, because from what I heard, he's relaying something else. Because he said, you're listening to whatever, and I just didn't get it on Mixed Radio International. Yes, that is a very dark beer. Indeed. Jacoby Alice, nice to have you on board. Hola. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Donde El Salvador. Me llamo Gilles. Donde Montreal, Canada. YS1ER. Bobby Burgess, in my environment, how would a passive loop would fare compared to an active loop? A passive loop would probably, the difference is because an active loop, there's an amplifier. It's mixed radio. It's just mixed radio. Yeah, that's it. I thought it said something else, but it's just Mixed Radio International. You just said it now. This Mixed Radio International. He was in the chat room last week or Wednesday. Amazing signal. Mixed Radio International. So a passive loop would simply, I would guess, have signals. The signals will still show up, but I would probably think they would be weaker because an active loop has an amplifier that actually boosts the signal. So Mixed Radio International with some classical music. Joseph Higginbaum, good to keep certain observations to oneself, especially if there's beer involved. Yeah, well, it was not that much of a problem, but I made while I was interacting, I made like a 1 + 1 = 2. But then I thought, well, maybe it's not a good idea to say what you think might be happening. So I thought, yeah, it's okay. No, I still have it. It's very strong here. 4175 Mixed Radio, really strong here. They had a small moment where they dropped off, but they came back. Yeah, it Mix Cool AM Radio, Andre. Nice to have you here. Mix did absolutely relay the show with Triple X Radio. So that was you. Cool. Cool. Old Radio Man says 80 proof or 40% to make a drink flammable. Okay. Matt says a flaming Jill, 10% beer with 2 shots of Aeroclear, lit and then blown out. For some reason, fire made it taste good. Oh, yeah. A flaming Mo. With the cough stuff, the cough syrup. Matham Valley, nothing on 4175 except local noise. Kathleen started my Raspberry Pi with RSP1A and MLA30 inside the house and got N2BJ, Illinois on 40 meters FT8. Cool. Sasa, ¿cómo está mi amigo? ¿Dónde Argentina? Marvin Motts, the active loop amp adds noise if the radio front end is good. Sometimes the passive may outperform. Yeah. I don't know. Not sure. I don't have enough experience on that to really compare. Because the active loop will amplify everything. And I mean, when it amplifies noise. That's for sure also. Nick Farrow, would I need a ham license to transmit some data for about 2 miles? I was thinking of just to use CB radio stuff. I think it's forbidden to transmit digital or anything else that is not an AM, FM, an AM, sorry, signal or single sideband signal on CB. Vienna also know the classical music sounds good with the 10% beer. You will play violin soon. Nah, I'll take my Fender Stratocaster and play the. I'll be after a couple of 10% beer. I'll be playing all the big classics with heavy distortion on my electric guitar. Mr. Simba, no, it's not that hard to get a ham license. Actually, the basic license is fairly easy to get. Mark Cope not getting 4175 into Texas. And Cooling on Radio has the EQSL for Triple X. Was she tied up to make sure that she listens to the pirate broadcast? Oh man. Oh man. John Pickney, you are correct about CB. Yeah, that's what I was trying. That's what I was thinking. You can transmit single sideband AM, but you're not allowed to transmit other modes like digital stuff. Jerry DX, anything is possible on CB. Yeah, whatever. Honestly, if anybody sends digital signals on CB here, I'll be the first to try to decode it. Are you going to report it? No, I'm just going to try to decode it. Oh, man. Ray Kelly, last radio playing about to start in 3 minutes on 9350 kilohertz. Vienna has 4175 upper sideband S7 in the eastern part of the province of Quebec. And Ray Kelly says, usually playing some decent music every Friday night. Cool. Nick Farrow. So if I use text to speech, hey, there's nothing that's not saying that you cannot, use a voice speech synthesizer of some sort on CB. It's voice. Cool AM. So how did you get your wife to listen to shortwave finally? Well, I just tied her up in the bed and said, "You're gonna listen to this." Oh, Simba is your cat. Oh, cool. Well, an active loop will amplify. Does it do better? I think that what is more of a question here, Bobby, is not is an active loop better than a passive loop? It's the way the loop is built. Much more. A good passive loop might actually be really nice if it's well done. Jason Wallace, WPX contest this weekend. Good time to listen to the ham bands. So cool. 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. Thanks for the info. I didn't know about that. I'm going to check it out. How about packet on CB? Well, technically, it shouldn't be. Technically. But who am I to say don't do this or don't do that? Sean Fitzgerald says, shortwave subreddit, this guy transmitted slow scan TV on channel 19 CB and decoded it with an Apple II Plus. You know. Take care, Sheldon. Have a great evening. We'll all be listening to the International Radio Report Show on Sunday morning. I got a confirmation from Tamara that she received the broadcast. You know, the question is not, because that's the thing. The question is not that some people don't do it. The question is, it's not legal to do it. It's very different. The legality of something versus people doing it. There's a big difference there. Neeson Greenwich, nice to have you on board from Dublin. Like here in Canada, you're not allowed to broadcast in FM on CB. Yet, I remember 10, 15 years ago, one night, that always that always happens when you're bored. So you're bored one night and you're like, yeah, what am I going to do tonight? And when you're bored, you tend to do, I know that I'm like that. When I'm bored with the radio, I tend to go tune the frequency ranges that I'm almost sure there's nothing there, but I will just try it. And I stumbled across 3 or 4 guys talking in FM that were local here in Montreal. And I listened to that, and I was happy because I remember I had the Kenwood 5000 that had the FM mode. And I was happy. It was like, oh, this is cool. Some FM CBers. Technically, it's illegal. You're not allowed to do so. But hey, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. WF7i Homebrew today compared noise levels at various locations with PL660 and XHD808. Kitchen and deck with telescopic, deck with wire, rural backyard and wire, remote mountain top with wire on your channel. So let's all check that out. That could be interesting. Yeah, because there are modes, specific modes that you have to abide by the rules. But J.D. Williamson. Rules. Yeah, who wants to, stay with the rules? Linux DOS. Nice to have you on board. That's cool. Cool sharing that. Wow, Cool AM radios. You're hearing the mixed radio on 4175 over the 20 receiver in the Netherlands. That's good. John Pickney saw some interesting, very illegal CB radios at truck stop chains in the U.S. years ago. I still remember. I still remember going to a flea market, and that was 10 years ago. Going to a flea market, and the guy had a table full of amplifiers, and was like, "Oh." So I look, and it's like, "What's that?" He says, "Oh, they're amplifiers. You plug that to your CB, and you get 200 watts out." I was like, "Huh." Of course, in my head, it was like, I don't have to tell anyone. But he was flat out at the flea market, and he had tons of these things lying around. And he was totally like advertising, yeah, plug your 4-watt CB and you'll have 200 watts out. It's like, okay. I don't know if that guy ever got caught for something, but man. If Brian says, I don't do Facebook, but Todd, I'd let you know that I'm a keen listener to your radio show on CKUT, and you guys do a great job. Glad that it worked well last week. Thank you very much. And it's going to be even better this week. I have one last little detail to work out to make it as clean as possible. For some reason, when I use this microphone, which is very clean, on the recording, there's a background noise that I don't I just don't know where it comes from and why it's there. So it makes kind of a rumble in the background. But apart from that, this week's show is better. I sent Sheldon a USB headset to improve his sound quality, which is much better than it was last week with the laptop's microphone. I mean, we do our best. I do my best. I never had done this really to do a show and record it and everything. I use Audacity for the recording, and I got to send it to CKUT in MP3 format. We do our best, and I honestly, when Sheldon sent me that message and said, "Well, maybe we should take a break," I just couldn't. No, I couldn't. It was like, no, I just can't. Having a break of the International Radio Report doesn't feel right. And what are they gonna put in that? And a lot of you came back and said, well, you could have reruns. Well, CKUT reruns are not nice. They're not necessarily interesting. You know why? What we talk about is very dated. So, we talk about stuff at a specific time that are happening. So half of the show, if not more, talks about something happening now. If we take a show from 6 months ago, it doesn't sound right, So reruns was like, yeah, I'm not sure. Then there was, so no shows. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to have any shows, and that's why I came back to Sheldon. I said, "Look, can you give me a day to figure this out, and we'll do a test, and I'll figure out how to create a show with you and me via Skype, and that we can actually interact." Because one of the things somebody told me, oh, well, you just have audio and that's it. No, it doesn't work like that. In a studio, so when you're in a studio with other people, what happens is you need to see the person because that's how you interact well. Looking at what that person, the way she's interacting, you or he's interacting, and you actually know when you can actually cut in, or you need to see the person to interact properly. So of course, it was the first thing was, well, we got to be on Skype. We got to see each other. That's the first thing. And then it was, all the question of, okay, recording Skype and my microphone and whatever else. And today's a complex show. I had Skype, my microphone. We have a clip from a TV station. We have several things going all together that I had to take care of and make sure that everything's all right. And it's complex. You got to watch the levels, the audio levels. This is too strong. This is too no. This is too low. This is man. It's a lot of Now I understand the guys that are on the board and just like have a million buttons to check all the time. It's crazy, but we figured it out. I figured it out, and it's kind of fun. And I just couldn't see the International Radio Report show not continuing. And it was nice because we got the really, really nice amount of people just telling us, you know what? Thank you guys for keeping it up, because honestly, it's really nice to have you guys still doing the show on CKUT. Jasmine picked up Canadian Coast Guard weather around 10 to 11 p.m. Pacific. Yep. 2749. Good chance coming from Nova Scotia, probably. Sean Fitzgerald, 4175 USB audio. Great. And your oops. Let me just go back here. Into upstate New York. Cool. John Pickney, the license plate frame I was talking about was in reference to a political situation going on in Virginia. Okay. Cooliam Radio, digital data over CB. Google text, digital data over CB radio is legal. Nick Farrow. What is the R and FLDG? Cool. What is Raspberry Pi? So allowing original CB, yeah. As in Germany, digital most, yeah, in Germany. So certain countries are allowed. Certain countries. VNA, Réseau de la Détente, 3780, lower sideband. 3780, I listened. 3765, also a bunch of Québécois guys in French very often. Catalan, all antennas, Catalan have a limit of output power. So the output power is, it's like most antennas are rated for a specific power. So if you have a 102-inch antenna Catalan, you actually it's made to transmit 4 watts. It's not really designed for more than that. So yes, you can actually destroy the antenna and damage the antenna if you use more than that. For example, my sloper in the backyard is a transmit also antenna, and it is rated at 25 watts maximum. So that means my sloper in the backyard up to 25 is okay, but more than that, it can actually, because the problem is the more you put power in the antenna, the more heat is generated. So that's what's destroying the antenna, is the heat that's generated. John Pickney, most of those Class C so-called business band amplifiers look like an inverted airbrush on a spectrum analyzer. Good AM signal looks like an obscene gesture, shall we say. Yeah, I never looked at it that way, John. Now, every time I'm going to look at an AM signal on my SDR, I'll see an obscene gesture. I'll get offended every time I watch an AM signal. JD Williamson, use Audacity, do a filter cut below. Yeah, I'm going to have to. What I'm going to do this week is I'm going to play with Audacity a little more. What I don't understand is that there's some kind of low rumble all the way through. And I don't get it, because everything I use doesn't do that. But when I do the show with Audacity, I have the low rumble. So I'm going to have to check out the filters to remove that. It's the only thing left that is actually annoying me. Because today, Sheldon sounded great with the headset. I mean, everything sounded perfect. All that's left is remove that low rumble. All I need to do is just get to play with Audacity a little longer. Because I mean, Audacity it's free, but it's technically it's professional software for sound recording. I can tell you that. Sean Fitzgerald says you can actually watch videos of antennas going thermonuclear on YouTube with CB Channel 6 Super Bowl crazies doing shout-out contests. Oh, wow. Thanks, Cool AM Radio. So, classical music of Mixed Radio International still playing real strong for 175 upper sideband. James Bowers, KC1ENJ in New Hampshire. Stay home and be safe. That's pretty much what we have to do. Rufus Newt, nothing on CFRX, but it's getting CFRB 1010. It's funny because my loop antenna, the way that it's positioned is a mishmash of 1010, WINS, and CFRB. 4103 USB on the air. Let's check it out. 4103. Yes, I hear something. It's not very strong, but it's there. It's not very strong. It's in the noise, but it's there. It's there. John Pickney, anything is legal until you get caught. Presuming you get caught. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Take care, John Pickney. Cool AM Radio, 4103 upper sideband. Zeke's Attic is very weak here right now. But 4175 still going on real strong. Shelly says that maybe the mic is picking up Paul's purrs. Yeah, maybe. Take care, Catalin. Karina. Nice to have you here. Nephiline seeing it. Just bought a Radio Shack DX392. What do you think? Yeah, it's nice. Nice radio. Nice radio. Have fun. Sean Fitzgerald getting 4103 upper sideband Zeeks. Just getting it over the noise. Yeah, it's pretty much here. I hear it, but it's barely over the noise. Not like mixed radio that's just like amazingly strong right now. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. Still playing classical music. Mixed radio. There's something here on. Let me check it out. There's something on. I like SDRs for that. What's that? So, yeah, it's there. Zeke's Attic. It's a little better, but it's still in the noise. Oh, wait. Yeah. But it's definitely there. Zeke's Attic is in that. I can hear that in that noise. Sean Fitzgerald. Yep. Mixed radio sounding great. Absolutely. Absolutely. Karina, JRC NRD 535. Amazing radio. I'm jealous. I want one. Keegan as 4103 upper sideband S2 through the noise. Interesting. Mad Radio DX, or pirate station here in Europe, broadcasting directly over a Stanac frequency of 1680. Oh, man. This is I always kind of pride myself in saying that. So, when we talk like on the International Radio Report of any pirates on FM that interferes with others and stuff, I always proud myself in saying that HF pirates have some kind of, so pirates are, of course, the chaos, but on HF, on shortwave, pirates are orderly in their chaos. They don't interfere. They try to not brush up with any other signal that might be, you know, that they could interfere with. They're the kind of the model citizens of the pirates, if we can say so. But that, over Stanang, that's what gets a pirate arrested, honestly. Interfere directly over something that could be important. And that's how it doesn't go well, WF7i Homebrew, noise floor on 20 meters with 20 feet wire. XH data was about 18 to 20 dB units with the Texan, 1-2 signal units. So atmospheric noise enough to significantly register on both radios. Interesting. Mantambale got an ICOM ICR 9000, but it needs serious recapping. Oh, really? It's you see a difference in its performance, Mantambale? Brian, I can never get HF pirates here in VK land. I'm jealous. And the trend never took off here because the penalties were always huge. Yeah. You guys in Australia always had it rough. I mean, even when shortwave was very active, you were kind of the little, island down there, somewhere down there, where, we'll broadcast to. But every broadcast to Australia, for the most part, came from far away. And I remember reading a long time ago, I think it was in Monitoring Times, a rant from a shortwave listener in Australia saying, everything here is weak. And I see these reports in North America of a million different stations, and I'm really pissed off. It's like, yeah, distances, and it's like it's a complex thing. It's shortwave, and it's, yeah. Man Reader DXer says, so the other problem here in Europe is that the frequency range used by medium wave pirates is also used. Yeah, I know. I was surprised at that because it's something I didn't know until I started looking at the list of frequencies, and I noticed that there's a lot of maritime weather station in the medium wave band for you guys. It's like, what? Here in Canada, we got a few, and even in the US, there's a few and 2 megahertz. But there's nothing, apart from the 160 meter band, 1800 to 2000. Below that, there's like, 1710 to 1800. Here in North America, there's kind of nothing. It used to be, for those that wonder, it used to be a cordless phone frequency range. The first generation of cordless phones actually used AM and were just above the AM broadcast band. And I remember my mom had one in the 80s, the first ever we had with a very long telescopic antenna. And that was one in the medium wave band. Then we got a Sanyo, which was in the 49 megahertz band. But the first ones were at that range. But I remember when I started looking at, it's on EIBI Space, when you look by frequency, and I started looking at, really, there's tons of maritime stuff. And I remember one night tuning in to SDRs from Europe because I wanted to tune into those maritime frequencies. Matt says penalties in the USA are huge, but the FCC's resources are very limited. They're at the beck and call of broadcasters, so they hit FM pirates hard, but HF pirates are largely left alone. But there's several reasons for that also that we got to look at. First of all, FM pirates often get more attention from the big players of the FM band. So, of course, that makes the FCC react. Also, FM pirates are so much easier to pin down where they are than a HF pirate because, you can just go through the city streets. And it's like, well, we're getting closer. HF is a little more, you got to triangulate where maybe it could be. And unless somebody complains because you're the neighbor that has that pirate next to, it's more difficult. And honestly, FM pirates have probably more of a tendency to, and without intention, but still interfere with real stuff. Where HF pirates are just like, what the hell? J.U. Williamson says pirates on HF are a great bunch. The best pirates you can have. They're a neat bunch, no interference, no nonsense. What are you talking about, Nick Farrow? Anton Bali says front end is weak and the spectrum scope barely registers. Oh, really? Wow. Really definitely has some problems. Wow. Oh, it was in use 24/7 in a monitoring station. Oh, wow. First token, good example, was YHWH in the US. Transmitted on aviation frequencies a couple of times. He lived near a military base, and after that, he got popped. A lot of it has to do with complaints with others, and if you interfere with really, really, important stuff, honestly, that's going to happen. Jasmine, to me, listening to pirates is not about the music. I can listen to anything they play on Spotify. It's the idea that they're doing this out of some garage or dingy basement that is cool. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's also the same here. I mean, I'm not listening to a pirate station to listen to music. I'm gonna listen on my Google Play Music account. I'm listening to pirates because I don't know. I find it kind of cool to hear pirates. That's it. First token says it also did not help that YHWH transmitted hours every day, several times. Well, that's the best way to get caught. Transmit all the time, every day, at some point. Brian says, sounds like that guy just wanted to complain. Maybe he had a bad radio or antenna. That's also one thing, Brian. Never had issues with getting the stations I wanted to listen to. So you see, but it could be, there's the ranting of listening, but we all agree that we don't have the same shack. We don't have the same capability. So some of us receive signals that are better than others from stations that will never hear at a certain point. So there are some of us that are positioned because of low noise, because of equipment that get a lot more. And some of us that have a harder time. I live in the middle of a big city. It's more difficult. Well, Canada is a little different, Mr. Simba. We have rights, but it's not as enforced as that. It's here an example here in Canada. There would probably be someone like Alex Jones would probably not be able to stay on the air for a long time because free speech we believe in, but there's a limit to when the free speech gets over to WTF, what are you saying? That's the difference. Matt says most HF pirates do know how to avoid causing interference. Yeah. They listen and they know where it's clean and where it's okay, Keegan has WTWW on 5085. Matt says there are few reasons to listen to YHWH, but his creepy theme song fascinates. I've never heard the creepy theme song. Let's say that the difference here is when speech becomes a mix of reality and fake. That's where here it starts to end. I understand free speech, but I do believe there's a limit to free speech, because free speech isn't. If you'd go on the air with fake news of what's happening right now all the time, that's not free speech. That's fake news. There is a big difference. So when it gets a mix of all of that, I think that's where it got to stop. Here it would be stopped for some reason. Sean Fitzgerald, Mixed Radio 4175. So 4103, Ziki's Addicts is actually not too bad. What's that on? I want to check something. What's that on? Okay, that's Stanag. Did they well, oops. Right, I'm gonna just restart SDR Uno here. Something is weird. But I was on 4175, sounded weird. Just gonna restart. Desert. So this is Desert Island listening. Here's DR. Zero Uno. Start it again. First token. I'm in the desert. My closest neighbor is 800 feet away. My noise floor is pretty low, and I have room for large antennas. That's the thing. You guys, you're not the same game as I am, and we got to make what we can with whatever we have. Honestly. David Martin, the weaker the station, the more interesting and more unique the content. Stronger stations, the less interesting. Well, what happens, and I think we all live through that cycle. So I think everybody will agree that here we go. Things are back to normal. Mixed radio, classical music, still very strong for 175 upper sideband. We all agree that when we started to listen to shortwave, whatever strength the station was, when we heard that signal came from another country, we were amazed. And like everything in life, at first it's wow, I'm getting, Radio Netherlands. Then you realize, night after night, Radio Netherlands is an easy target. It's an easy station to listen to. So what happens? You continue tuning around and you notice that there are some stations that are weaker and more difficult. Now that's the ones you could start chasing. There's a challenge in it. And as you go by, you want more and more of that challenge. So it's not that it's uninteresting to listen to something that is strong or a regular, but it's at some point, and I think that's probably part of what we are as DXers. We like to have that lower power radio Gaga thing from the other side of the world that only has 800 watts and that I was able to pick up when the antenna was pointed northeast and I was 4 in the morning. This is so cool. The challenge, we're looking for more challenges. We're looking for more challenges. I think that's the thing. As we listen more and more, we're just looking for more challenges. Hello. Rufus News says ladder is buried in ice. Oops. Still a little cold. So there's, Charity X Beach SDR. Cool. Matt, we need rules governing the airwaves like we do for roads, but I don't like how access is by design restricted to those who can't afford it. I agree. I mean, I think everybody should have a voice. Where that voice needs to be controlled is when whatever you're saying has started to get into the realm of fake news or creating some controversy by creating a news item that's not the case. I mean, today we can see so much documented why and how things happen that you know let's just say that I got a hard time listening to Alex Jones more than 10 minutes. Let's just say that. Mike Hill, Falkland Islands was the Holy Grail catch back in the day. They were a broadcaster. I never got that station, but I had crappy radios back then. But Falkland Islands, yeah. One station I always wanted and I never heard in the 80s, Radio Grenada before the U.S. invaded Grenada. Never heard that. But, I was with my DX100 and probably needed a better radio, better antennas. Take care, Sean Fitzgerald. Nice to have you on board. Benji show, no one here at all. So, hey guys, hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And Mike Hill, you got Grenada? Wow. Lucky. There were so many stations I would have loved to listen to in times. So, hey guys, 3 hours 37. Hope you enjoyed the show, guys. I am going to go and order some restaurant food. Hope you enjoyed. Going to continue listening to Pirates tonight. Lots of Pirates. Hey, Johnny DXer. Sorry, man. And Matt says, waiting for pizza left on the front porch. I got to tell you one thing. I got 2 boxes this week. If the postman could have thrown it on the balcony, he would have done it. He almost kind of would run out. Oh, man. Take care, my friends. Facebook group, official SWL channel where you can continue. I'll be listening to the radio all night, so I probably will be posting tons of things on the official SWL channel Facebook group. And so hope everybody is well and take care, everyone. James Stiles, nice to have you here. Thanks again for being great fans. And actually, the restaurant is Three Corner Streets, and I thought I'm going to call in, say I want to have the lasagna, and go and pick it up. It's going to make me go outside a little bit. And so stay safe, 845 unit. Stay safe, everybody. Nick Farrow, nice to have you here from the USA. And see you next week. Or who knows what could happen on Sunday night. Could there be something on Sunday night? Who knows? Bye, everybody. Please stay safe, okay? And in these times of very complicated moments with all of us, this is where we all are together, okay? Will there be a Sunday show? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, Jean-Marc got a green out of QSL. You lucky bum. So, yeah, I'll have lasagna tonight. I feel like eating that. So, hey, my Mixed Radio International. Signal is amazing here. 4175 upper sideband. Cool, Mac Radio DXer. I'll keep that in mind. Stay safe, everybody. Okay, it's very important in these times to focus on radio, focus on what's important, and just take care, everybody. Bye now. See you next time. Maybe Sunday, maybe Wednesday, maybe who knows when it's going to happen. Bye, everybody. Why is this getting bigger? Bye.